Hello and welcome to Poker Night Live. I'm Kara Scott and with me is Mark Banin, and together for the next 4 hours we're going to take you through the entire poker world, the poker universe even. And we're here for your amusement and your education, isn't that right?
I think we should stick with the poker world. I'm not sure about the universe. I think that's taking it a bit...
You think?
Yeah,
really?
I think it's a bit too high, that one.
I think we're ready to conquer the universe. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. We've got so many great new features, not to mention lots of new viewers in lots of different countries as well. So we've got all of our usual UK viewers, and hello to all of you, but also the Scandinavian countries, the Germans, and the Baltic countries, and all over the world as well, because lots of people watch online. I know that there's some Canadians watching. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
And we do have lots of new features, and one of them I'm a bit nervous about, but less nervous than I was the last time I was on. It is Beat the Presenter. Now this is a new feature, and this is exactly what it is. Every night from 11 p.m, a Poker Night Live presenter, that would be me, will be playing against some of our regular TV table players. Now this is going to be screened at 12, so I'll be playing from 11 till 12, if I stay in the tournament that long. And I'm sure I will. I nearly made it the last time.
Did you? Oh, I didn't make it the last time. I was on last night doing it, out first. Yeah.
See,
having said that, it was after a long period of time, I suppose, but still.
Exactly. I was out second on mine, so really, it was... But I did my best, and that's what matters, isn't it?
Absolutely, as long as you do your best.
And I had my queens cracked by aces. See, now that's just going to happen. In fact, that kind of leads me into what I think our theme should be for tonight. Not bad beat stories, because we don't want to hear lots of those, no. But if you out there have had... I hesitate to say bad beat, but if you've been beaten on a certain hand, do you feel a bit nervous about playing that hand again? Because one of the other commentators said to me, you're going to be a bit nervous about playing the ladies again. If I've got a pair of queens, I probably will hesitate just a bit. So if you do find that, then let me know. Tell me how you got over it, because I need to get over this fear. Yeah, I think so.
Fear of ladies.
The fear of the ladies.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have that.
Those evil ladies, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. There's a couple of different ways you can let me know what your thoughts on this are, or anything, in fact. You can text us on 62211, or if you want to send us an email, it's just as always, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Now, one of the new things here is have your say on Poker Night Live. You can call 0906 200 7080 and leave either a message or a question, and we will play it live on air and hopefully answer it or have a little discussion around it. But do make sure that you get the bill payer's permission, because that will be £1 a minute. And the text and the email is still working as usual as well for all of your questions and all of your comments. Right.
Excellent. Well, let's have a little look at what tables we've got for our viewers tonight.
Let's do that.
So the first one is a little cash game. It's a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. As you can see, most of the places are filled up. $50 maximum buy-in, $5 minimum buy-in. On to table 2. Table 2 is a sit and go. It's a, I'm not sure what the price is of this one. It's a $2 sit and go. And on this particular one, you can see it's the early stages yet. Blinds are still on the first level. And buy-in for this, as I said, $2. So still a long way to go in this one. On table 3, we have a $10 sit and go. This one's in the second level, and as you can see, all the players still in. So lots of play still in this one, and some of the regulars on that one. And our final table tonight is a $10 multi-table tournament. No, was a 10-table multi-table tournament, so we'll be no doubt bringing you that a little later on, and it's much the same as a sit and go. The only difference is there's around about 350, 400 players.
That's right.
So there we go.
Yeah, we will. We'll keep you in suspense, but not for very long, because we're actually going to take you straight to the MTT to take a look at how the early stages are panning out, and we'll be dipping in and out for the rest of the evening until the final table, which is where it all kind of kicks off with the MTT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Let's do that. So there we go. There is the blinds are 25.50, so I think this is around level 3, if I'm not mistaken, level 2, level 3. And normally starts off, each player starts off with 1,500 chips. It costs them $10 to enter. For that $10, they get 1,500 worth of chips, and they play that until they get to the prize money. Once they're in the prize money, then it's played to a final table, and obviously last man standing gets top prize. So this is how this particular one fared out. So there we are on that one.
That's right.
So we can see here at the moment that blinds are 25 and 50, and it's pretty much a full table. Obviously there's one player missing, and what happens is as players get knocked out, the tables get condensed. So that's really what you'll be seeing a little later. This particular one started off with 353 players, making a total prize pool of $3,530. All this is in American dollars. First prize is 882, and in this particular one, there's quite a lot of prizes being paid. 40 places getting paid. 40th place gets paid $15.88.
Right, to bring you up to date, our small stack, I believe, is the one here at this table here. That would be Modo 1 with 460 chips. The big stack in the whole tournament at the moment has 7,885 chips.
Well, that's pretty good. Pretty good indeed.
For this stage, isn't it?
Yeah, very good indeed. Because anything 7,000, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yep.
he's got around 150, it's about 140 times the big blind, which is in pretty good situation to be in.
Quite a lot of play in that.
Yeah, lots of play if you've got 140 times the big blind, certainly. And here we zoom over to our chip leader, who is LA 103.
Oh, he must have just lost a hand, I think.
Yeah, looks like he's just been through the blinds by the looks of it, so he might have lost something in those. Wonder if he's from LA. Having just been there myself. Maybe it's one of those guys I was playing with, who knows.
Enjoy a bit of sunshine.
Oh, it was fantastic, yeah, it was really good. Yeah, nice to get a bit of this out of the cold and into the warmth.
Perfect timing to go. It's been bitterly cold over here.
I know, I was watching the snow and everything, but
and laughing.
No, nothing like that, yeah. Nothing like that. So that was pretty good weather over there. So and lots of poker. So
yes.
I didn't get to see much of LA and Beverly Hills and all that sort of thing. James Woods was there, and he was playing quite a lot of the time there. So and one or two other people. Yeah. Shannon Elizabeth. I didn't really know at the time, but people told me she's some couple of films she's been on and stuff. So yeah, there was a few celebrities there popping in and out.
Wow. Sounds very exciting. So you didn't see much of LA, but you saw a lot of cards.
I saw a lot of cards, yeah, hell of a lot of cards. I was playing a lot of poker. Yeah.
Oh, well, it sounds like a great way to spend a week?
No, 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah,
2 weeks
I was there. 2 weeks of poker. Even on my last day, I was there from, I think, something like 10 o'clock at night, and I just played all the way through the night because I was getting the plane around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, so I just played till about 9 o'clock in the morning. So.
Sensible.
Yeah, trying to catch some sleep on the plane.
Boy.
Well, this is turning out a nice hand for Javoltsi, who's picked up flopped the house, and Gwen has actually flopped a set. So Gwen probably thinks that he's slow playing. That,
unfortunate for him.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
And the prize that they're playing for is quite substantial. It's actually $882, which is a large amount considering it's a $10 buy-in.
Yeah, it's great to have such a big return on your buy-in. $882 is a nice return for your buy-in. So yeah, and the great thing about this tournament, as I keep saying, this particular tournament does have a lot of play in it. So if you can accumulate a few chips, you generally find you're not under any great pressure because the blinds don't go up that quickly. So it is a good tournament to play. And certainly if you're new to tournament poker and or you're new to poker and you want to play in some multi-table tournaments, this is as good as any to start off with. It's lots of play, and you get a lot of value for your $10. You know, good prize money and lots of play, so you can't really ask for much more than that.
No, and 40 places paid as well. So some of them I know only do 20, some do 30, but 40 places paid. It allows for a lot of scope for people to get into the money on that. It's not a lot, obviously. It's just really just over your buy-in for the last 10 places that are paid, but still.
So it's always nice to to get your money back.
Yeah, a few hours of fun, get your money back. Not a bad thing.
So there's 7-8 offsuit for Zed Brion, and West J with the lozenge, famous poker night lozenge there. And this is seeming to be quite an interesting sort of table. Everyone's sort of limping in with all sorts of hands. And, well, as you can see, there's 3 spades on there, but only a couple of them with spades, and not very good ones at that. A 5 of spades and a 6 of spades. So now the people that are holding aces are starting to get interested, I'm sure. Only a little interested, though. They're still worried about the potential flushes there, so they're probably just going to call any bets rather than actually do any raising. I dare say Rel Saboy will call, and so does Gwen. In fact, that was a split pot between Rel Saboy and Gwen, as their kickers didn't play. So they play the kickers on the board, so they split the money that was in the middle that Javolsky added into the pot.
Mm-hmm. There we go, because it is the best 5 card hand that wins at Texas Hold'em.
Yeah,
sometimes that's what's on the board rather than what's in your hand, or just one of the cards in your hand, and leading to a split pot.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. So that's a bit of tournament action for you. Now, because we are all about the various forms of Texas Hold'em, we're going to take you to a smaller stakes cash game. This is a 25 50-cent game. And there we go. You can see the blinds are 25 cents and 50 cents, and obviously because this is a cash game, they're not going to go up, which makes it quite a different game for strategy for those of you who are new out there, beginners at poker, because it is amateur night. So we will start small and talk to you about the basics. That's what I'm here for. And then the sort of the bigger than the basics, that would be you, Mark. You are the expert for the evening.
The bigger than the basics, I don't know about
Anything
that.
bigger than the small stuff. I'm with the small fry here.
Oh, okay. So this could be interesting because Craven's got the up and down straight draw, Mex Rex has got top pair, and Ace Matty has got top pair too. Now, what I say is interesting is if the 10 appears, then that'll give Mex Rex some interest, and it might also give Ace Matty a little interest with a draw, but it doesn't matter now because he's gone all in anyway. And Craven is going for his draw. And he really needs Mex Rex to call as well to give him enough sufficient pot odds. And he's got it now. So he does need a 10 or a 5 to hit his straight. And there it is. He's hit his straight and he takes home the winning hand.
Ouch for both Ace Matty and Mex Rex.
Yeah, that was a sort of a quite lucky for Craven that Mex Rex called. That was now giving him sufficient odds for a straight draw. So Craven now zooms up to the top of the leaderboard, $97. What you're seeing in front of these guys is real dollars. They're actually playing with real money. Maximum buy-in that you can sit down with is $50. Minimum buy-in is $5. And we've got a couple of our regulars on there, including Snap It at around the 6:30 position.
And I'm not a minger.
I'm not thinking, where's that? Oh, yeah.
At 9 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, at 9 o'clock, I see.
Well, Mex Rex looks like he has reloaded and come back with a bit more money.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more money. 23.88, a little bit unfortunate there, really. Jack 10, he's hit top pair. Unfortunate the way that worked out. In fact, it was the worst hand out of the 3 in the end.
Yeah, sometimes that just happens.
Well, interesting hand here for Sir Wins-A-Lot. Will he bet his flush draw? And it's a shame he doesn't, because I think he should be betting his. And now Running Lee has hit a part of that. And he'll no doubt bet that now that he's been checked. And he should be. I'm surprised that he didn't bet that. That was a poor play from Running Lee. He wanted to bet that. He would have got a call from Sir Wins-A-Lot because he was on a flush draw. And he was going to make him pay for that card. But he must have realised that once the guy's checked top pair twice, he hasn't got the queen, obviously. And now that Running Lee just picked up second pair, that must be the best hand. So all he did there was just give Sir Wins-A-Lot a free card and the potential to outdraw him without making him pay for it. In the end, he could have won a little bit of a bigger pot. So missed opportunity there. And that's the thing about Texas Hold'em. It's not about just winning the pots or losing pots. It's actually about conserving your losses and maximising your wins. So when you've got opportunities to win an extra few bucks, then you want to take it. And that was, I think, an opportunity. Could have been sitting there with perhaps 56, 57, depends on what you would have put into the pot. But certainly it was pretty clear that his 8 was winning at that point. So when you know you're winning and you've got a vulnerable hand like Ace 8, and you've only got second pair, then you want to protect it. The way you protect it is by betting.
That's right. Try to push anyone else off the pot and hopefully win it before.
Or make them pay for a draw. Yeah,
right.
Push them off or make them pay for a draw. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you were saying when we were watching the final hand there of the MTT just a moment ago that someone was getting better odds to call into a pot. So if a lot of people or if a couple of people are putting a lot of money into a pot, even if you're just on a draw, it can sometimes be worth your while, can't it, to play out the draw, even though it's quite a lot in the pot and you are, risking quite a bit of your own stack, just because you could actually win so much. It
really depends, yeah. I mean, you have to be a little bit more careful with that with tournament plays because obviously you've got an element of survival. So you don't want to risk such a big portion of your stack on a draw without thinking clearly about what your reward is.
Right.
The reward could be a lot of chips, but it also could be what is the aftermath of you having a lot of chips at that point. Does it mean a lot or does it mean very little?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
So, if it means that it could put you in a sort of a tournament-winning position, then it's perhaps worth the risk. If it means it's going to knock you out, and yet it wouldn't have helped you a great deal, it will just give you some extra chips, then it might not be worth taking that risk if it means that that's the hand that could knock you out.
So timing as well is really
timing
important.
is important, yeah. You've got to decide what the risks and rewards are.
Okay.
A lot of players will say, okay, well, look, it's the early start of the tournament. If I can triple up here, whilst it won't win me the tournament, it'll put me in good stead for the rest of the tournament. Otherwise, it means that I'm not wasting my time. I can carry on going and playing cash games. Then it might be worth taking that risk. I know a lot of the top players do that. They take a few more risks early on to try and accumulate chips, and if they don't accumulate, they're out and they're downstairs playing in the cash games. So that's another thing to consider. You've got to think about what there is to gain.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll snap it with the King 10. It's limped in, and well, that's a horrible hand for Snap It because, especially now he's been checked. Pot's 150. I think I might massage it here a little bit. I think I might put in a little bet of probably about 75 cents, something like that, just to find out where I'm at, and also build a pot, in case I do hit something. But it's worked out, and Mexrex has played this very strangely himself. He only had top pair, and whilst he's got inside straight draws, it wasn't a particularly attractive flop for him. Someone could be letting someone in there for a flush draw potentially.
Yeah, before the ace came down, he had top pair, so I would have thought he would have bet on that, but... Yeah,
and especially as no one has showed any strength.
Yeah.
So I think, having said that, Running Lee did limp under the gun, so maybe he was a bit worried about what he might have.
Right.
But there's only one way of finding out what this guy's got, and that is by betting. You're not going to be finding out by letting him do the betting for you. Then it means you've got to check raise him, but there was no guarantee that he was going to do that. Well, Snap It on the button with 9-10 suited. Now he's raised it, and I'm not convinced that's a good play there to raising it. Sometimes it's okay, I don't mind it every now and again, as long as it's not a regular thing. And the reason I say that is because all he's going to do is isolate the pot for himself, and it means he'll just pick up a small pot if he does eventually win it, or he's risking a lot to win a small pot.
Right.
With a mediocre hand. And 9-10, let's face it, is a mediocre hand. It looks very pretty, and I like them. But I want to play it against a few players. I don't want to just play it. Every now and again, it's okay to stick a little raise in to build the pot and take the betting lead. But you don't really want to use, don't want to play it like an ace-king or an ace-queen, I don't think. So we've got... because all it means is that you just end up winning lots of tiny little pots and losing one big one. That's really what will happen. You'll end up winning a couple of dollars here and a couple of dollars there, and then you just end up losing $15, $20 in this particular size game when someone takes you on.
So it can be quite an expensive way to play.
It can be, yeah. But it is good to mix your game up, so as long as you don't follow the same path all the time.
Yeah.
That's okay. But that would be one of the ones I would do at a later, at an irregular point rather than one of my regular plays.
Okay, well, if anything that you've seen here is sparking a bit of interest in you, if you have any comments about the show, about poker in general, questions that you'd like answered on the air, you can have your say. If you want to call 0906 200 7080, you can leave a message or a question and we will play it on air. So get your voice on television, that's the whole thing there. But make sure you do ask whoever pays the bill for permission, because there is a small charge for that as well. Oh, also remember to speak clearly, because we need to be able to understand what you're saying. So speak nice and clear and press hash once you've left your message, and that's how that works.
So snap it, making it 2 with the ace king, 4 times the big blind, and that's okay from early position. I don't mind that play.
Now, you were saying just a minute ago about mixing things up. So is it a good idea to mix up your strategy, well, or to have it as part of your strategy to maybe sometimes go into a pot without the best starting hand, just to keep it a little people off edge, so that they don't always expect you to come in only on a really good hand?
Yeah, I think so. As long as you have to be careful though, because what tends to happen is that once you start doing it a few times, once you start doing it, you get a little bit carried away and you start doing it quite frequently, and people become all of a sudden, from being a tight player and mixing their game up a little bit, they become a very loose player. So, yeah, it is important to, you know, and a good hand to do that with are things like suited connectors, you know, to mix your game up so that people see that you're raising from early position with suited connectors or something. They're thinking, and they keep a note of you as doing that. And of course, later on, you'll be raising with aces or something, and they'll think, oh, he's at it again with his suited connectors, and you know, they might pay you off.
Okay.
So here's another good bet from Snap It here. It's unfortunate that he's got called on this one by Queen 9. And Snap It, I would have just liked to call at that point, I think, from Snap It, to see if he can catch another club, or to see if he in fact can hit his ace or jack. Now, it's a weak bet from Sir Wins-A-Lot. Not sure if he means it to inspire a re-raise again, but he was perhaps a little worried that potential straight draws there. I don't know.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Difficult. So one of the things that you need to be able to do in poker is not only play your own hand, but try to guess what your opponent has, and by doing that, seeing how that they're raising or how they're checking, how they're betting, figuring out what they have, what you're up against, and then you know where you are.
Yeah.
Now this is a really difficult skill to have, I think.
It is, yeah. I mean, you know, we saw there a moment ago Snap It having a check raising to try and get the guy off that, you know, any false hand that he might have had. In fact, he did have top pair with a decent kicker, so it was going to be hard to dislodge him without putting a lot of chips at risk. You can do it, but you know, you've got to be certain that the guy's going to put it down, or you've got to have a good feeling that he's going to put it down. And unless you've been playing with him a while, or you know from history the kind of player there's no guarantees online that they like to put hands down.
Yeah.
So.
Now, we are here to help you with your poker. So one of the things, in order to do this, to try to understand what your opponent might have, is a new feature, What's in the Hole?
What's in the hole?
What's in the hole? So we're going to show you last night's game. It's going to still run up until midnight tonight, so you have time to text your answer in. We're going to show you how this works. Let's take a look at this hand here. Now, you can see that this is going to be a hand from a game that we have played previously. And one set of cards is covered over. That's Firebird, the Firebird's cards. So take a look at how Firebird is playing, how the people around him are playing, and try to figure out what you think his cards are. That's the whole thing right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so he's checked in the big blind, so let's see that. And Pakistan Engel has not raised from that position with jacks. Now he's putting a little bet out to probably find out if he's got the queen or not. And what's Firebird going to do? He decided to check raise. Now that's the problem with only betting one from Pakistan England. He's not actually, the problem is with by doing that is that he's actually saying I'm very weak, or I'm hugely strong. And more times than not, you're usually weak. So that was quite a curious bet there. And he's called from, he's a non-believer, and he's still going off with his one bet, bearing in mind he's 16 in a pot, and he's still going with the one bet. Firebird is going to check here. There's going to be another one bet, which is another strange bet here from And I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe Firebird calls, but we just stop it at that point, so we don't know.
Okay.
But I presume he called at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
So what do we think might be there in the hole? If you think you know, if you want to take a guess, you can text hole and your answer to 62211 and let us know what you think. And every month we are going to be putting together a leaderboard so that we can see who's doing the best on this. So if you do play more than once, if you're doing it every night even or whatnot, you're going to be on the leaderboard and we can see exactly who is the best at figuring out what's in the hole.
Absolutely, yeah. Excellent.
Okay, well we are going to go back to our 25-50 cash game. Let's take a look at that.
Okay, so back to the action, and we've got really not many hands here, apart from Jack 10's got the best hand at the moment, second pair, and I like the bet, I just don't like how weak the bet was. So I think you need to put some more strength behind that bet. It was 750 in the pot, I believe, or 6 in the pot, and he bet 150. I would have liked to have seen a 3/4 size pot bet there, about $4, maybe $5. And now you see he's got bet off the best hand, and that's only because he showed weakness on the turn. I like the bet on the turn, but he didn't. You know, he was too weak. That was a problem. There was no strength behind it. Should have made it about $4. And there's no way the guy with all the numbers could have called. So, yeah, because I think once he's got the ace checked in that situation, he's, once again, like I said, if you've got the top pair checked, someone might be slow playing top pair, but it's unlikely. So you can put a bet out and find out where you're at. And the way to do that is by putting in a massage bet. You can do that with, he could have done that with a bet of 3 or bet of 4, would have been probably ample in that situation.
It seems to be as well that depending on what table you're playing at, they find their own level, it seems, with betting. So sometimes you'll be on a table where they tend to bet, say, 2 times the big blind, and sometimes it'll be 6 times the big blind as a general run-of-the-mill bet.
Yeah, it really depends on what position on the table you're in. For example, you know, if you've got, for argument's sake, ace-king on this particular table, and you've got it under the gun, then you might want to put a slightly stronger bet in, a bet of because you've got the whole table to go through. And the problem is that if you put in a bet that's slightly less than, let's say it's 3 times the big blind or 2 times the big blind, what will tend to happen is that if you get one caller, then everyone calls.
Right.
So that's the problem. Whereas if you make it a little bit more expensive, then you don't inspire that one early caller calling. That's the real problem. It's the early caller that's the problem. Because once that early caller's called, then everyone starts to call.
Okay.
So you don't mind playing, obviously, against other people with the ace-king. You just don't want to bet against 7 people, 6 people, that's the thing. So in early position, ace-king, you'd make it slightly more. You might make it 4 times the big blind. If you're on the button with ace-king, you might only make it 3 times the big blind.
Okay.
So it really depends on the position of the table and obviously the players that are involved at the table too, i.e. what kind of reading you've got on them, what kind of players they are, calling stations, loose, aggressive. So that might adjust what kind of bets you put in too. Well, we can see here we've got a couple of players here with 2 ace-queens. And this is a very strange play from Running Glee rather. He calls with ace-queen and throws it away when an ace appears. I mean, if you think that the guy's got ace-king, then you shouldn't be playing it in the first place. But strange play there by Running Lee. Wonder why he threw that away.
Ooh, and there's those ladies.
There's the ladies.
There's the ladies. Now, there are a few people out there who have heeded my call. I've put out a question there for people. Have you ever been so badly beaten on a certain hand that you actually feel a bit nervous about playing with it again? And how did you get over that? Or what would you give me as some sort of advice on that? Because I am feeling a bit nervous going into my second only live tournament here in the next, half an hour. Oh my goodness, it's getting up here. I'm feeling a bit nervous now.
Palpitations?
Just a little. So I would love some advice from anyone out there who is watching. Give me some advice. And we've got one here from James. James sent in an email. It says, hi, I'm Negrano 110 and I regularly play on your multi-table tournaments. In reply to your question, do you feel reluctant to play certain hands after a bad loss with it? I feel the only answer can be that you cannot be reluctant with any hand in poker, as the key factor in being successful is to be confident with whatever hand you play. And then he says, please show me on my multi-table tournament, please, please, please. Well, don't know if I can help you out there, but thank you for the advice. And you're right, confidence does play a huge part, doesn't it?
Yeah, confidence is a big part in poker, and it all depends as to how you're running, as to how your confidence levels are.
Right.
And the problem is, it becomes a spiral in either direction, in a positive note or a negative note. When you're running good, you feel that you just can't get beat, and you go in with your 50-50s and you feel you can't get beat, and most often you find that you're not getting beat.
Wow.
Whereas if you feel that you're losing 60-40s even, then guess what? You tend to lose those. It just seems that you tend to lose those, and they can be confidence saturating, and it means that you start to shift. You either start playing very aggressively, or the reverse of that, which is more common, is that you start playing very passively and timidly. So you're now playing hands very aggressively. You get a pair of aces, and you're so worried that people get a set against you, so you're making over bets to stop people calling, and of course you do want callers in those situations.
Right.
So you start scaring people off. It's like with Ace King, you start playing it extremely aggressively for the simple reason that you're worried about some bunch of people calling and outdrawing you. So, but the thing is, you've got to, you want these people to call. That's the thing.
So I've got to summon up my nerve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would that be your advice to me? Because I am looking for advice here for my my tournament coming up.
Yeah, you've got to feel that confidence is important. So you've got to feel that at the end of the day, it's only a game, and you've got to feel that that everyone is as nervous as you.
Somehow I doubt it, but I will try to go into it looking at it that way.
You'll be surprised, because a lot of people, when they're playing these multi-table, these sit and go tournaments, as I found yesterday, they don't want to be one of the first ones out.
Yes,
especially on the TV tables. So they do tighten up a little bit, which means you can loosen up a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to keep my eye on that, and try not to be quite so obvious with exactly what's going on in my hand, because I think I was far too obvious. I had so many tells, and it was quite shocking.
How can you have tells online?
I know, but they did keep putting me on camera, and apparently they could hear everything I was saying, and I kept going, oh no, ooh. So I really need to tighten up on that, I think.
Yeah, that's not a
rookie
good
mistake.
Yeah, that's not good. We'll get a bit of masking tape.
Yeah.
Strap it over the
mouth. I was going to bring in a baseball cap and some sunglasses as well.
So Queen 8 for Craving. Most times, from the cutoff, I would probably sometimes call, sometimes raise. A bit of a mixture, 50-50 on that one. He's decided to fold. I won't be doing that too often from the cutoff. I might do it if I was one step before that. Queen 8, having said that, it's not a great hand, so he's done nothing wrong in folding. It's an okay hand to fold as well. But I think if you're in the cut-off position, you've got to start playing that a few more times. And Queen 8 suited is okay to play. And if it wasn't suited, I'd probably throw it away. But it gives me a few more opportunities to get something. So Ace Queen for Running Lee, and he's made it 325, which is probably a right sort of bet. I think it's a little bit over the top. I think 250 would have sufficed here in this situation. Hoping to get called from by an ace-jack or an ace-10, but of course all he's done there is, if there was an ace-10 there, he's just scared them off. And of course, once again, you do want those people with ace-10s to call you. You don't want to scare them off, because you're dreaming for that miracle situation whereby you've got ace-queen, they've got ace-10, and then the ace flops. And now you get a whole bunch of money from them, because otherwise all that happens in these situations is you just scare them off and you get nothing. Apart from the blinds and the blinds that anyone else has put in.
Right.
So it means that you've got a good hand, Ace Queen, and you're not getting paid anything for it.
Okay, so again, nerves.
It's about nerves. Yeah, it's about getting paid on good hands. That's the thing to remember. You don't want to scare off your opponents. You want them to call with inferior hands.
So be willing to take that risk, because there could be a better hand out there. But hopefully that will become obvious from how they play.
You mustn't be scared about playing your better hands now.
Okay. There you go, some stats for you. for those of you out there who love to see the stats.
Yeah, you can see that Running Lee is playing a lot of hands, 50% of hands, which is a hell of a lot. It's more than I play, much more than I play, in fact. So wins a lot, 45. That's also probably more than I play as well. I tend to play around the 35% mark, something in that area. Maybe 32%, 33%. I think that's about loose enough for me. You can play a lot looser, though. I'm not the loosest player around. I just happen to be a little looser than the majority of the other presenters, I think.
Yeah? That's all about personal style, though, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can adapt sort of either way to your own personal style and make it work for you.
Yeah, there's a lot more looser players than I am. I'm probably just happen to be a little looser than Tom, who's exceptionally tight.
Is he? I wonder what his percentages are.
I think he's told me. I think he said his percentage is around 17%.
Really?
Yeah, so that's very few hands.
Wow. I think my pre-flop folds are at 89%.
89%?
Yeah.
Well, for a sit and go, I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I'm very different on sit and go. Having said that, next one I play of these, I'll probably won't play it quite so tight. So
see, everyone else has the advantage, really, because they can hear us discussing exactly
that's
how
all right.
we plan to play.
It could be me double bluffing them. Who knows?
Oh, and me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Running Lee with his pair of tens, I would like to make it around 250. Pair of tens is a sort of a very vulnerable hand, so I'm not looking for lots of callers here. And especially as one of my tens is already missing, as we can see, Craven's got it. So I'm not likely to hit a set. 250 would be my bet. Two is okay at 2. And the reason 250 is because we do have an under the gun limper. Well, that's pretty good flop for a pair of tens. Running Lee has an overpair to the board, and he wants to protect it now. So he wants to stick in a bet of about 4.
So there we go, a little bit of tournament action, a little bit of cash game action. You get everything here on Poker Night Live. And it is an amateur night, so we're trying to keep it, to the basics, but also bumping it up just a little. So some of the higher concepts and theories might just wind their way in. And I believe we have someone who has called in and had their say. So let's listen to what they say. I'm sure it's there.
Well, having a little technical glitch there, so perhaps we'll come back to that one.
Okay, we'll do that. But we do have a great question for you, but you're going to have to just hold on and wait for that, I'm afraid, keeping you in suspense. We're going to go back to the MTT now and see where they are at.
Okay. So, as you can see, the chips are now higher and higher as more players get knocked out and more people are accumulating. So we can see there's still quite a nice bunch of chips on this table. 4,000, 8,000. So lots of play. So at this stage we've got about 126 players left. Top stack is over 13,000 in strength. So that's a lot of play there. Of course, 10 times the big blind would be 2,000. So if he's got 13, he's got 60 times the big blind. A little over, 65 times. And we have a little short stack who's rolling on around 600 odd. So lots of play still in this game. 126 players left. Still got a way to go before they get into the prize money. And we should see it starting to get a bit more interesting when we get around the 60 player mark. That's when they get closer to the prize money and they're sort of holding on. Some of them holding on and some are being ruthless and trying to knock players out. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of styles these guys adopt. And there's LA103, who is our early chip leader. He's not a chip leader at the moment, but he's still increased his slack a little. He was on around 7,000 when we last saw him, and he's now up to 8.6. So he's got game, the boy, or girl.
He's got game. I like that. It's very straight of you, Mark.
Yeah.
He got game.
He's got game, So V3 Ranger. Decides, it's strange, decides to fold there with a 9-10 suited in the cutoff. I think that's definitely a call for me, but having said that, how many chips has he got there? Has he got 1,000 or 4,000? Looks like
4,000,
four.
yeah.
He could afford to have a peel off for 200. And lo and behold, he might not realise it, but he would have had the best hand. And the good thing that you're in the cut-off position, it means... he wouldn't have had it anymore, though.
No.
But he would have bet, and the guy would have had to go, I think.
Could have been, yeah.
Unless he would have called for a jack. Unlikely. But that's the great thing about being in the cut-off or on the button. You can see what everyone else does, you can see that everyone else is checked. It looks like a potentially scary flop. Anyone with a queen is unlikely to check in that situation. So it means that if you've got your 10, it's probably the best hand.
So it's worth putting in a little bit of money just to see the flop and see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so... then we're going to another table in the multi-table tournament. This one is with the chip leader, and as you can see there, he's sitting at 3 o'clock, and that's Assi 40. He's got just under 13,000, so he's looking pretty comfortable at the moment. He has got a long way to go, as I mentioned a moment ago. So let's see how he's playing. Whether he's going to start being the thief and nicking all the blinds from the shorter stacks. And he's in a very good position here because he's got short stacks, and they really are quite short, 2,000 and just under 3,000. And I say that's quite good because it wouldn't be that easy for him if he had someone there with 7,000 or 8,000 sitting there. But now it means that he can comfortably steal their blinds at every opportunity. But he's elected not to on that case. And he's left it up to Edgy to do.
Oh, which he does masterfully with a 5-7 offsuit.
Yeah, absolutely, and he needs it. So, and he knows that Charlie Farr and Galupto can't call without any much of a hand. So that's why it's better for Assi to do it, because even if they do push all in, he can decide to have a go at it, and really won't affect him that badly.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, he's limped in. He's a very strange play. He's limped in with 8-3. You know, he's hoping to catch a miracle 118 to 1 shot, and, you know, that really would be a miracle.
There's nothing there on the board for him.
No, Edgy might go, I was going to say he might go all in, he has in fact, and not the best hand off, and Assi is not going to be calling here. So he's gone all in with his flush draw, and he's picked up some more, so he's practically doubled up in the last 2 hands.
Really, yeah, it's good edgy play there.
Yeah. A little bit risky calling with 800, I think it was, with 7-10 suited, but he had position, so that was always going to be a benefit.
Right, and it just wasn't worth it to the smaller stacks to find out if what he was saying was true or not. So you might just see sort of a battle of the short stacks here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to get rid of each other. There's still 3 of them there, 4 of them even, with less than 3,000 chips. Deneva has hit a king, which is great for Deneva, and knocked out Clark 4x. So now we have an empty spot here at this table. At some point, when the other tables start losing players as well, you'll see them being broken down and the players being redistributed along to these other tables. So there's almost always going to be full tables, depending on the number of players, obviously, that are left in the tournament. And that is one of the things about the multi-table tournament. If you're new to multi-table tournament poker, if you're on one of these tables and the table gets broken down, you don't actually have the advantage of knowing what your opponents have been doing for the past, 10, 20 hands.
So, Jack 4. What's he doing there with Jack 4? Well, he's playing a lot of hands. I don't mind playing these kind of hands, but you want to play them when you've got some kind of edge, and the edge only appears really in position. Otherwise, he's having to, do check raising and all sorts. So I don't really like the call there with Jack 4. I don't know what he's doing in that pot. And here we have one of our regular players, Tragic Trev, in seat 2, 3 o'clock, and He's got a healthy bunch of chips too. One of our regular players on Poker Night Live, and this is an interesting player we've got here. 7-8 on tilt.
Interesting name.
Yeah, and talk about 7-8. There it is. Poker Paul has got 7-8, and he's walked into a big hand behind him. 600. That's a big part of his stack. I wouldn't be calling. Even I wouldn't be calling it for that amount. Not for when I've only got 2,200 left. It's just too much, and I wouldn't really be calling under the gun with only 2,200 left. It's a nice hand to play around the button, around that sort of area, or on a cheap raise when I'm in the blinds. But that's really, you don't really want to do it when you've only got 2,400 left like he had. It's costing you too much.
Like most hands, really, it's about timing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's reappeared at the top. This time Victor had it, but he's elected not to go for because it has been raised. And now Blazing Sailor's got two options here. You can either re-raise. Folding is not an option in my opinion, but you can either re-raise. So he has folded.
Ooh.
Well, I think the problem is that he's now. It seems like he's playing a little bit on the shy side, which means that you'll tend to find he'll probably just get anted away because he's not willing to take any risks, and that was probably the best opportunity he's going to have. You know, pocket pairs. You know, at the end of the day, he has got a pocket pair of nines, and he might say, well, nines is not that high. But if you bear in mind that there are only 5 hands better than his, you know, so the chance of him having one of those is not going to be that big. Aces, kings, queens, obviously, jacks and tens.
The problem is that sometimes the time you don't want people to have that hand, they do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, poker's about risk, and I think I wouldn't have minded a call there and a bet post flop, but he decided not to. He decided to fold.
Okay.
Oh well.
Right. Well, then that is all we're going to do with the poker right now. We have a question for you. It is working now. And this is George, and here's his poker question.
Hello, my name is George from Tottenham. I've been playing poker for about 3 months. I wonder if you could explain to me the gap concept. I love the show and watch every night.
Oh, that's
Okay.
so sweet.
Okay, well, thanks.
Hi, George.
Yeah, hello, George. Okay, George, thanks very much for your question. And for those of you that didn't quite catch the question, it is, can you explain the gap concept? And that was from George in Tottenham. Well, George, it's a pretty simple concept. And the way it works is this, is that it's written, it was made us aware of it by David Sklansky, who's a tournament specialist. When I say a tournament specialist, a tournament writer. He writes lots of books on tournaments and strategic play within cash games as well, mainly a limit player though. And he suggested that there's a gap concept, and the gap concept works like this. It means that, in effect, you need a better hand to call with than you do to raise with. So, for example, let's say that someone has made a raise of, let's just say for argument's sake, we'll just pull a figure out of the air, of 500, that you can't actually call unless you've got a much better hand than you could to raise with it. So for example, let's say someone has raised with King Jack, that you might not be able to call a raise with King Queen because it has to be that much better. So in other words, you can make the same raise with King Queen, but you can't call it. So in other words, you tend to find that the gap gets bigger the tighter the player is. So for example, if you have a tight player who's making that raise, it means obviously the gap's going to be much bigger now, because now you need even a much better hand to call with. So for example, you're sitting at a table, the guy hasn't played a hand for an hour, and all of a sudden he's raising. Guess what? You need now to have a much better hand in order to call with. By the same token, you've also got to remember that a loose player means that the gap is much smaller, because if a guy is playing lots of different hands, what happens is he makes a raise. You know that his raises don't mean an awful lot, generally speaking, so it means that your hand doesn't have to be that much better than what it would normally be. However, there is still a gap, so it does mean that a hand you would normally make a raise with isn't sufficient enough to call with, even though it would have been for the same amount. So that's the gap concept. If you want any information, there is, I just had a quick look, there is some information on various websites. All you need to do is just tap the words gap concept into your Google search engine, and it will come up with a whole host of sites giving you more specific information and more detailed information. Alternatively, you can actually get Advanced Tournament Play by David Sklansky. It's a book, a very good book indeed, and that will explain it in even more detail in the writer's very own words. So thanks very much for that, George, and I hope that explains it a little.
Yeah, thanks very much, George. It's always good to hear other people's voices on the show. You must get a little tired of hearing just ours. So thanks for having your say here on Poker Night Live. Now, we do have a couple of emails to go to as well, people out there with burning questions about poker. So I'm going to read you one here. This is from James in Wrexham. James says, "Hi guys, I've got 2 questions for you. Number 1, could you explain to me exactly how to work out drawing odds and pot odds in your head easily, as I find it quite difficult?" Well, I'm with you on that one, James. I find that quite difficult as well. Should we start with just the first question there?
Yep, sure.
Okay.
So could you explain exactly how to work out drawing odds? Mm-hmm. Okay. So how do you work out drawing odds? Well, the easiest way to do it, and that was from James. The easiest way to do it, James, is really to actually memorise them. You know, there's no things that you have to work out specifically according to the board. If you want to, there are ways you can work, and I won't go through that here because it is amateur night, but basically the thing to do is just have a look at the most common drawing situations that you're going to be in. And I'll give you just a few of those just to give you a quick example. You've got obviously things like flush draws, you've got straight draws, and they're the 2 main ones that you generally want to do. For example, odds of hitting a set is 8 to 1 if you've got a pocket pair. If you want to know some strange ones like odds of hitting 4 of a kind with your pocket pair, it's 407 to 1. Chances are of hitting, if you've got a set and you want to know what it is, i.e. you've got 2 8s and there's an 8 on the flop, you want to know what chances of you hitting a full house, it's 1.9 to 1. Chances of you hitting a flush draw, here's something around the 4 to 1 mark, and there are percentage points, there are decimal points in play, but you just round it up and down accordingly. But I'll give you some more after that, perhaps after the break on that one.
That's right, and we will come to your second question after the break as well, James, because we have to go now. But when we get back, we're going to be switching seats because it's going to be time for me to start playing a tournament. We haven't decided which one yet, so don't go getting on all the tournament sites. But don't miss it because it should be very entertaining for you as well as me because I quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right, so do join us after the break. Thanks very much. Hello and welcome back to the second hour here at Poker Night Live. I'm about to play a tournament.
You are?
I am, and you're going to be commentating on another tournament all the while. You will. And before we do that, we're also going to give you a bit of a reminder, a recap on our What's in the Hole for tonight, because it does finish at midnight tonight, and then there will be a new What's in the Hole. So let's take a look at that.
Okay.
Right, so you must know how this works by now. 2 of the cards are covered over. You need to decide what those cards are by how people are playing.
So we seem strange. The player's been very strange here anyway. You know, all the way through. So it's very hard to decipher what this guy might have. But he's gone for a check raise here. Which has been called, and then he just keeps putting out these little 1 bets, and even when he's got a chance to not put out a bet anymore, he does it again at the end, which is not something you'd want to
do. So what's in the hole? Do you have any inklings yourself, Mark? I know we can't really say because we don't want to, sway people's opinion on this.
No, I've got no idea at all. Well, I've got an idea actually. I'll tell you, I do have an idea.
I think I have a vague, fuzzy idea.
Do you?
I couldn't say for sure. But if you think you know, then let us know what your answer is. You can text the word HOLE, H-O-L-E, and your answer to 62211. And in just over an hour, just over an hour, we are going to do a new one. Right, I'm just trying to get myself onto a tournament, and I'm having no luck.
No, they won't let you play, will they?
No, I think they're all scared of me. Is that it,
Yeah.
huh? Yeah, probably not so much the scared. Oh well, if anyone out there has any advice for me as I'm about to be playing a tournament, you can let me know. You can email me or send me a text and give me a bit of encouragement and a bit of advice, because if you watched the last time I played, you'll know I needed it. All right, you can text us in the studio at 62211.
And of course, you can have your say on Poker Night Live, 0906 200 70 80. 0906 200 70 80, and don't forget, calls cost £1 per minute, so please get bill payer's permission.
Right, and sorry about the little bit of silence there. I was desperately trying to sit down at a tournament, which I have done. I'm playing as Great Scott on a $2 tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whew, that took me ages to get on there. Right.
Okay, so let's head over to our multi-table tournament we were watching earlier and see how these boys are playing out. Okay, we're going to watch a couple of hands on this table, and then we'll see how a sit and go actually works. So we've got quite a lot of play still on this table. Blinds are 200, 400. They're about midway through this tournament. I'll have a look in to see how many players are still left for you, and give you that information in a moment, but probably around the 60 mark, I guess, looking at the blinds and the amount of players and the amount of money that's on the table. We can see Bloody Jim there with 18,000 chips, so he's looking very, very healthy indeed. He's got around a little over 40 times the big blind, so he's got lots of play there. And we did have... let's have a look here. Poker Pool we were watching a moment ago as well. So we'll just do one more hand and perhaps zoom over to a $30 sit and go. So Steve Vialdino making it 1,200, and he's probably going to get looked up here with the Ace Jack. He's out of position though, so that's anything. He doesn't know whether his ace is going to be any good or not. And he has looked him up, and that's the problem with that. I think he should have really perhaps just let it go. I think I would have been more tempted to let it go. And oh, he's been outdrawn horribly, horribly, horribly. And poor old Steve did nothing wrong there, did everything right, and unfortunately got chewed over. So we're into a $30 sit and go tournament. This is a tournament where each player has put in $30 of their hard-earned cash, and they've been rewarded with 1,000 worth of chips. There's 3 places they get paid. What happens is you take all 8 players' money of $30 apiece, put it into a prize pool, making a prize pool of $240. First place will actually get $120. Second place will actually get $80, and third place will get $40. So all to fight for. Of course, if you do end up in fourth, there's nothing for your money. So people do become a little bit cagey around that sort of area. I'll give you some stats at the moment. We've got Nat Fans is top of the leaderboard at the moment with 1270, Prupen 97, and he's got 1260, and L Pig with 1030. So still a long way to go in this tournament. Let's see how they play out. Jack Queen, early position. Blinds at 10-20. I don't mind a little limp here if he wants to. Oh, he's got a razor there, so you'll have to call a raise. Maybe not then. Still, I don't mind. I don't mind having a little look there. Probably means that the fact there's been an early position raise, it probably means that he's not going to get anyone else calling as well, so it means he will have position on the razor. Ace Queen for Pruppen. He's made it 80 to play, and I don't mind the play. That fan, so he doesn't like putting that. In fact, no, that was someone else. What am I getting carried away with? He's he's re-raised. Well, I'm sure we're going to see a re-raise coming from Pruppen. Shouldn't be calling here. Should be re-raising, and he's called. I don't like to play with a call, and that's going to give Nat Pans all the more reason to go all in now. Wants to put a bet out with his straight draw and backdoor flush draw, and Pruppen doesn't know where he is anymore. And I think that was weak play by Pruppen there. He's got Ace Queen on the button. The guy thinks that he's trying to steal from the button, which is why he re-raised. And that's what a lot of people would do. And I think you had a good rights to actually re-raise back again. If he happens to have Ace King or something, then it's just bad luck. But the majority of the cases, they're just trying to protect their blinds. Well, Pruppen at 97 has got queens now, and let's hope he doesn't play this too softly. Definitely should be raising here. I'll be making around another 200 on top of that, at least. And he made it 300, in fact. Bit overkill, but let's see what Tidus does. Got a little bit over-attracted with his suited King 10. And he's taking his time, and he decides to fold, and that's the wise move. Don't think it's really something you want to be raising with in early position, King 10, in this stage of the tournament. Well, Jack-Ali, he's got Ace Queen. Is he going to go for a limp raise, or is he going to go for a raise on the outset? From the outset, he's decided to raise it up to 60, 3 times the big blind. Don't mind that. 60 or 80 would have been fine for me, or even a limp. Well, that's worked out quite nicely for Mach 1. He's got the top end of the straight draw. And he's betting it. I suppose the others were thinking that he's potentially already had a made hand, a pair. And we could see some trouble here brewing. Ace King versus Ace Queen potentially. Now this has been a raise in early position, so I've got the Ace Queen. He's re-raised. Well, I think he could have just called once he's raised from early position. Had he been raising from sort of late position, then maybe you want to do that. But I think people don't generally try and steal blinds from early position. They generally have a good hand. Well, he's picked up an inside straight draw, has Nat Pans, and he's betting it, and I'm sure he's going to get re-raised by Jack-Ali. He's only had one thing in mind, and he does. And he's calling, and he's doesn't want to give it up. And I think Jack-Ali should be going all in here, and he does. If you want to draw, or you want to play your worse hand than mine, then you've got to pay for it, and he does exactly the right thing. There's no possible straights on there, so the only thing he could be losing to is something like a set or King 10. And if he's saying to himself, well, if you happen to have King 10, then good luck to you. Not really many playable hands here. And of course, folding like cheap suitcase. Wow, this is an active table. It's very different to the one I played in yesterday. They were very inactive. But here, everyone is sort of betting away of all sorts of rubbish and calling of all sorts of rubbish. Well, we've got Pruppen in early position, who's raised it up. And that's a good check raise there by Zong. And Pruppen's got his flush draw, which is why he's betting. He's picked up his inside straight draw, and he's missed it all. So we're going to see Pruppen, who unfortunately paid the price of limping in fact raising from early position with Ace 5. Let's face it, that's all it was at the end of the day. It was just ace-5. Don't look at me, Karen. I can't tell you what to do.
That's not fair. They're bullying me, and they think it's really funny as well. In the chat box, they're even encouraging each other to bully me. It's terrible.
Are they? Well, don't worry. You'll pick up a hand against one of them and just
Yeah, and I'll
stick it back up them.
Ooh.
So Jack Queen, second pair. They both got Jack Queen here. So let's see who wins this one. Tildus believes that he might have the best hand. And he doesn't want to give it up, does he? And this is good play by Mac 1. And that was a good call by Mac 1 as well, I thought, overall. He thought, I don't like your call and raise. I don't think you've got a king and you do that with a king. I think it looks more like you've either got a weak queen or really a draw. Probably more of a draw. And I think you're just trying to steal it from me. And he read it right. It wasn't, in fact, he ended up just having the same hand as him, which is a bit of a strange play by Tildus there. Because had Mac 1 had a king, he wasn't going to put it down. So all that Tildus was going to do was just do his money. Or at worst, or at best, nothing. He wasn't going to do anything else. He wasn't going to get caller with any worse hand than that, I don't think. So Queen 6 against Ace Queen, and he just gives it up. So top pair for Mac 1. And Jack 5's got a straight draw, not a particularly good one, an inside straight draw. He's got backdoor flush opportunities as well. And Mac 1 has just given him his answer. He thinks, I've got 7, 8, 9, 10, plus top pair. I'm not going anywhere. So Ace 10 against Ace 10 against King Jack. And he's raised it up. And what's Big Ad going to do? He's decided to call with his Ace 10. He's got position. Big part of his chips, though. Big proportion of his chips. And look at that. He flopped the nut flush. He's in heaven. Now he's thinking, how can I get money out of this guy? That's the only problem with a flop of 3, 2, 6. Well, I assume he's just going to be flat calling here. Doesn't want to give the game away. And that's now curtains for El Pig. That means that he's about to donate 340 chips over to Big Ad. And sure enough, he does. Yeah, that was, once that 10 came down, that was it. Rather unfortunate for El Pig, but that's one of the things with when you play these kind of hands out of position, it means that you've still got a lot of players to go through, and he had 4, I think, maybe 5 players to go through, and always going to be difficult for him from that point. We can see that Mac 1 is top of that board there. Hands played, 41%. That's how many he's played. Okay, 7-2. There's a simple fold. Mac 1 should be folding 2, and he does, and that's good play. Not getting too involved with a rag ace. Tied us 2. Blinds are still fairly low, so there's no desperate measures required by anyone at this point. Don't need to get involved with mediocre hands. It's okay to call them in position with mediocre hands, but you don't want to be putting fortunes into some of these hands. And Jacali making a move from the cut-off position. with ace-7 suited. I think that's fair enough. Blinds have just crept up to 40-80. Lost one player, down to 7 at the moment. And El Pig is really the only one that's in sort of a desperate situation at the moment. He's got 300. So should be an interesting confrontation between the blinds here, I think. Ace-7 against King-10. I don't think Mac 1's going to be putting this down. And well, I don't think he's going to put this down for 220. He's not. And he's picked up a straight draw, so a queen of clubs and 2 of clubs is no good to El Pig. And, well, but he does make the straight with it, though. Isn't that horrible? Oh, dear. It's a nasty beat there for Mac 1. Probably thought that one was all over. But, oh well, on to the next hand we go. And he should have really been on around 1,290 chips now, has Mac 1. But he made a good play there, I thought. Made a good call. Read the situation right. Read it that El Pig was in desperate situation and was likely to make a move of anything. So a pair of queens for Big Ad and King Queen for Mac 1. You better hope that case queen doesn't come out. And Big Ad not taking any chances in case he has an over card to his queens, which he did. He had the king. Always worried when you've got a hand like queens and jacks and you've hit a flop that's lower than your pair. You've always got to put some protection into it, make sure people don't get cheap cards to outdraw you by hitting one of those overcards on you. So they do become very vulnerable, unless of course they make their set. So King 9 for Titus. Not much good against top pair, which is what Nafans has, and I'm sure he's just be sticking his chips in here. Doesn't need to do anything too clever. His hand, whilst it's good, it still is vulnerable to overcards. So he doesn't want to call here, he wants to put them all in, that's it. And Jack Ali, he's got 160 left to call. Not sure he could really fold that now that he's committed himself. I felt he sort of committed himself to that hand. Well, queens again for Big Ad. Become more aggressive this time. Mac 1 is, I was going to say, he's looking at the chips and thinking, well, there's another 120 that could be joining me, and I could do with that 120, and he's won it. Puts him up to 610 now, and that's an acceptable play, I think, when you're short stacked. You've got to try and accumulate the blinds, give you some extra rounds of betting, and he's done it again, and I don't really blame him. Well, he's got a pair of 4s this time, and he's done it again. Will he get looked up by the 8s, though? He's contemplating it, and I don't think he's going to fold it. Well, he does. He folds away the best hand, but having said that, the queens is now the best hand. And the set of queens means that Mac 1 is not out, but he's drawing pretty thin. many hands here to look at. Six, seven, probably worth throwing away, I think. Big ad with the Queen. Jacali with Ace King. Makes it up to 320, double. And he's going to get looked up by L Pig, who's got a fairly nice hand himself, and we know that he doesn't like throwing away hands. And that should mean a problem potentially for L Pig. Let's see, especially if that king decides to drop. What's he going to do? Well, he's going to get re-raised here, and L Pig has almost dug himself a hole. And well, he's managed to get away from it, but he's left him once again short stacked. Well, he was short stacked, and now he's got all the chips. Don't know quite what happened there, but well, pair of nines is going to win this one. Now leaves Zongerlearn in a desperate situation. He's on the big blind, 163.20. He's picked up an okay hand though for a big blind, King 10. Going to get looked up obviously by Tidus with the Ace 7, and he's hit his king, so he's back in it. Still needs to accumulate a few more chips though. He's only got 620 now. We're going to have a quick look at the multi-table tournament. We can see Bong Pal by the looks of it. He's got all the chips there, 25,000. Oh, actually, in fact, just underneath him, he's got 37,000. So a lot of chips on that table. And 47 players remaining. And chip leader is Assi 40 with 37,000. And small stack in desperate situation. He's only got 820, so he's desperately trying to hold on for that money spot because top 40 get paid. So it's going to make it. It's going to find it very hard though with only 800 chips. And let's return back to our sit and go. So he didn't survive that hand, as we saw. He was about to go out. And sure enough, he did. So back down to L Pig, Big Ad, and Tidus. Tidus has picked up a nice hand. Unfortunately, he doesn't get very much for it.
Excellent. Oh, I thought I was just about out of my tournament there, sorry. I've been biting my fingernails over here in silence and I'm back in. Oh, and Mark won't even help me out here.
No, I can't help you.
I know, but just a nod or something.
Well, you're doing the right thing, that's all I say. So we've got 3 players left in this sit and go tournament. Ace King for Tidus. don't think there's any sophistication left now. It's just a case of sticking it all in and hoping that someone calls you, and he does call him. And he's drawing pretty thin now. Only an 8 will save El Pig, and that's not going to help. So El Pig is down to the wire again. He made a couple of recoveries though. On 2 occasions he was almost out, and let's see if he can pull out another one out of the hat. Well, he's dominating with his 3-10 here. And sure enough, he's hit it. So that's drawing dead for Big Ad now. There's no card that can come that will save Big Ad. Will make Big Ad win that pot. So he's back in it a little bit. Still the blinds are pretty high. In fact, he's about to get swallowed up by the blind. 7-8 suited. It's a fold. He's hoping that these two will go at it, so he moves up a place. I think that's really what he's thinking is. And it might well happen, because we've got a pair of 3s here, and he can't fold, I don't think, for the extra 400 odd. And he's picked up a straight, a flush draw with an overcard. He needs to hit a club or a queen, and it doesn't come, so a pair of 3s is going to win this one, and El Pig's not happy about that, because now he's about to be swallowed up by the big blind, and Big Ad is no doubt going to push in here, I think, and Titus, I'm sure, will fold this. At the end of the day, he's only got Jack high, so Queen 6. He's got one overcard. Can he survive? And again, needs a 6 though, and it's not going to happen. Queen rather. So it didn't happen. So El Pig finishes in the 3rd, and for 3rd you get $40. So next prize is $80, and first prize is $120. You're watching a $30 sit and go tournament. 8 players started. We're down to the last 2, so this is they're going to battle it out. Jack 4 against King 10. He calls. And that's a pretty good flop for a King 10. And he's drawing dead now. No card will save him, so we have a winner. Titus. Let's have a well done to Titus, and also well done to Big Ad. Let's have a quick look at our chip movement graph, see how these guys played out. And as you can see, it's pretty steady progression all the way from our eventual winner, Titus. He was making steady progress. Did take a little dip sort of midway through, but he never looked anything too serious. And about 3/4 of the way through the game, he decided to step it up a bit, and sure enough, he ended up winning it. So well done to Titus there. So how are you doing in your game?
Well, I've managed to stay in there. I've not gone out first. I've not gone out second.
Okay.
There are 3 empty chairs.
Don't give too much information.
That's all I'm saying. There's 3 empty chairs, and I'm happy about that.
Okay.
And everyone's being really nice to me as well in the chat box. Although it is very distracting, I have to say. I think I probably talk too much.
I think you do.
Do you?
I can hear your little fingers clicking away there.
I know. Apparently, I huff and puff as well. They can hear me breathing when I get nervous, so I need to calm myself.
Oh, that might have been. Well, they don't know. That might be me, heavy breathing. I might be giving them some of the heavy breathing just to throw them off. I'll tell you what. Next time you get a pair of aces, I'll do some breathing for you.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's head over to the cash game we were watching earlier. 25 cent, 50 cent. So joined it, and same old players are on there. Snappet's increased his stack a little. He's up to $68.80. So wins a lot's down a little from where we last saw him. So let's see what happens here. Well, strange play by Swan Lee. Decided just to limp in. Not sure if I'm that late I want to limp in. Don't mind limping in if you're in early position. And so Winterlot takes it. Well, ace is there for hotties. He's made it 2. I would have liked it a bit smaller than that. Made it a little bit too scary, I think, for them.
Oh my goodness, I've just done some really good play there. I think you'll be very proud of me on the replay there, Mark.
Okay, I'll be watching that.
Phew.
You do sort them out, Kara.
I did that on my own as well. I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah, no help from me whatsoever, which is probably why you're still in. Otherwise, listen to me, you get knocked out. So, 2 pair for Zandy W. Tried to slow play, didn't get anything. Give him another card. He says now, board is looking a bit scary. I better start betting this, otherwise I'm going to let someone in and they're going to catch a straight on me. So I think that was okay. So Jack 8, 7 wins a lot. He's playing a very strange sort of game. Jack 8, I'm not sure I would have liked a call with Jack 8. Too many gaps for my liking, 9 and 10. He's hit both of them, incredible. So he's got an up and down straight draw. So it's worked out okay for him on this occasion. He's actually got a hand he can feel comfortable about betting, especially as they've checked it. Anyone with a 10 in their hand is unlikely to check a board like that. So he's thought about it, and it's worked out for him perfectly. Well done.
Oh no. I think I may have made a very bad move there.
You didn't make a bad move.
Oh well.
You didn't make a bad move.
No.
No.
I think I'm going to go blue because I can't breathe over here.
So wins a lot. Hands played 38%. I think we'd like to see that increasing, in fact, if he's going to start playing Jack 8 from funny positions. Well, 3-5. Snappet's selected to call from the small blind with 3-5. And now, I hope he's going to check raise here, because that's really what I would expect him to do if he's actually given. No, he's actually just folded. Well, that's going to be an obvious play for anyone there. If you check a 10 high flop, they're going to naturally bet with a standard play. And that's the thing, if you're going to hit 3-5, snap it, you're going to play 3-5 from the small blind. You've got to appreciate the straights aren't going to come very often. With a 1-card gap like that, something like, in fact, it's worse than a 1-card gap because you've only got 2 cards to aim for. It's equivalent to a 2-card gap. So it's about 150 odd to 1, something along those lines, which means you're not going to hit a straight very often. Best you can hope for is an up and down straight draw. So when you do hit part of the flop, then you've got to start betting at it and asking a question, I think. That's the only thing I'd say. If you're going to play 3-5 and you hit a part of the flop, it's never going to, you always, let's face it, if you're going to play 3-5, you're generally always going to hit bottom pair, middle pair at best. You're never going to hit top pair, very unlikely. So when you do hit bottom pair or middle pair, you've got to bet it and hope to send your opponent along his way. But never mind. By the same token, you can lose money doing that as well. But I think it would have been okay to stick a little bet in there of maybe $1, $1.50, see where you're at. There's only 2 cards you have to worry about him hitting. Obviously, if he's got 3 as well, he won't call you. He might call you with that 9, or he might have called you with that 10.
Well, I'm rejoining you now. I'm afraid my tournament is over. It's over for me anyways.
Is it?
It is. But I did better than I did last time.
Okay.
And I'm happy with that. So once we show the game at 12 o'clock, you can kind of talk me through some of the things that I did, and hopefully I'll learn to do a bit better.
Okay. Yes, we shall do that. Be interesting to watch. 2 pair has been the biggest winning hand type so far. 28% of the time. Well, this is a pretty nice flop for Sir Winston. 2 overcards, sorry, 1 overcard and a flush draw. And I would have liked to have seen Sir Wins a lot to put, you know, to build this pot up a little bit. Now, is he going to go for a check raise? Well, what's he doing here? He's folded. Well, he's folded. And Swan Lee is getting away with blue murder over here. He's managed to put in some very good bluffs, and well, I'm saying they're very good because they've worked, of course. So yeah, very well done to Swan Lee. He's getting away with a lot of bluffs in this situation. And I think the players watching them bluff away will mean that he'll probably get opportunities to get paid off when he does make a hand.
I think one of the things I need to learn a bit is how to bluff.
Yeah, it's about timing, really. It's about picking the right moments, and we'll perhaps talk through maybe one or two opportunities that you might have had.
That would be great, actually, because it is sort of a dialogue, isn't it? It's like a narrative.
Yeah.
You're building a story by what you say, the bets that you make, the raises that you make.
Yeah, or bets that you call.
Yeah.
Or
okay.
but we'll talk through, I think, potential opportunities that you might have had, if there were any.
Great.
Sometimes you don't get any.
Oh, I made a couple of pretty foul moves there, so you can talk me through those as well.
Okay, well, we shall be critiquing.
Good. I think I do need the critiquing.
The red pen will come out.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I may have gotten a squeaked by with a C. Maybe a C minus.
C minus. Could do better.
Yes, could do better. Must try harder.
Must try harder. Oh, I don't think you could try any harder.
Oh.
I think you would try your hardest.
I'm exhausted.
So, snap it with the 6-4. So he's not to do anything with that, and I don't blame him at all. Horrible little hand, especially it's early. So wins a lot. Looking to hit his flush, or perhaps a king on the board. Doesn't get either. And he's drawing pretty thin now. And I'd like to see, well, Geordie's made a little bet of 0.50. I would like to see a bit more strength behind it. And they decided to put the strength in on the end. Figured that Craven was on a draw, hoped that he was on a draw, and he was. And he's nicked it with his 5-7. So overall, good play by Geordie there. Well done. Craven's raising up with the King 10. Zandy with his Jack 9 suited, doesn't want to know. I think I might have looked up Craven there with a Jack 9 suited, especially as I think he's been fairly active. Hotties with King 4, nothing doing there. Butcher can simply fold, as can Sir wins a lot, but we know he likes to play suited cards, but not on this occasion. And Craven might go for a little raise here, and that would be sort of a nice little play every now and again to make. 5-6 suited on from the cutoff. And, well, I think I would have liked to have bet there with the up and down straight draw because, one, he's got the poor end, he's got the sucker end of the straight, and that's horrible now because he's hit his straight, but so has Snap It, who's hit the better part of the straight.
Uh-huh.
In fact, Snap It has got a 7-card straight. 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen.
Wow. I wonder what the odds are for that.
And he's bet, and Craven doesn't want to know. Yeah, I think he missed his opportunity. That was probably a scary flop for Snap It. If it's scary to you, it's scary for your opponent. And he did have a straight draw, and not a good one, so the best time to win it was before any more cards came out. Because he had a sucker end of the straight, there were diamonds on the board, so best time to win it would have been before he made his hand. So top pair for Sir wins a lot, and don't know what this guy with the ace-9 is calling for. Hoping for his 10, which is not very good anyway. Because it means that, well, we would have an ace-high straight, I suppose, but looking for an inside shot, which is about 10-1, just over 10-1 to hit. So it's not going to happen very often. And if there's not 10-1 in the pot, and you don't think you're going to get implied odds of 10-1, implied odds meaning that once your 10 comes, that you'll glean some more money into the pot, then there's not much point in calling. So we'll make this the last hand, and then we'll have a head over to our multi-table tournament and see how these boys are playing out, I think.
Well, I think we're going to do a few emails first,
Oh, okay.
and then we're going to check on the people in the multi-table tournament.
Cool.
But
Okay.
we have a few questions here for you, our guru of poker for the evening.
Okay, let's fire away.
All right, let's see. Our first one is from Ed, and Ed says, hi there, just like to say great show. I've been watching the show for a week now and have just started to try and play online. I've only played 2 cash games and 2 single table tournaments. I managed to come 3rd in one of those single table tournaments. Well done. Are you bragging though? Maybe just a little, really, because that kind of hurts a bit. Because I did so well in this, I decided to go for a free roll multi-table tournament. I came 669th out of 12,000 players. 12,000 players.
They get a lot in those free rolls here.
Wow. Okay. My final cards were Ace King offsuit. I was down to 3,000 chips. The blinds were 500, 1,000. I was also short stacked. Everyone else had over 10,000 chips. I decided to go all in, and I lost the hand to a pair of 8s. Was this the right decision? The dealer button had just gone past me. I'm not sure whether to wait. So you had Ace King offsuit, and you got busted by a pair of 8s. Ouch.
Absolutely right decision. Yeah, you've done nothing wrong. When you're short stacked, Ace King is a huge hand to have. It is absolutely, it's a hand you've been almost dreaming to have, and you need to take chances. You know, when you're short stacked, blinds are 50-100. There's no better hand. Or of course, there are better hands. There's aces and kings and queens. But at the end of the day, Ace King is an excellent hand to have. You were very unlikely to get a better hand before your blinds come round, and then you're going to be really short stacked. So you've done very well. Unfortunately, you do need to win these 50-50s every now and again. You know, to win tournaments, you do need to win 50-50 shots.
Yeah.
You can't get away escaping not winning any of them. You know, it's very unlikely anyway. So unlucky, but very well done to go do so well out of 12,000 players.
Yeah, considering he's only just started playing and he's played so few games as well, that's fantastic. So well done.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean the snide comments earlier. I'm very happy for you. It's just still feeling a little bit ouch from my own tournament, so don't mind me. Right, another email here. This one's from Karen in Lille, and she says, hi there, love the program. Could you please explain in very simple terms why the button is such a powerful position to be in terms of betting? Sorry to ask such a silly basic question. Merci. This is not a silly basic question at all, and it is amateur night, beginner night here, so all questions are welcome. And this is a pretty straightforward one to answer, though.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Okay, thanks very much for the question, Karen. Yeah, it's pretty simple. The reason the button is so powerful because it gives you bluffing rights. Let's say if you're in an early position, all you're playing basically are your cards. It means that you have no bluffing rights because guess what? You can try and bluff, but it means you're bluffing with your, with a banner over your eyes because it means you won't be able to see what the other player is doing. So what happens is when you're on the button, it means you get to see what other players have done, and it means now you can decide whether they have a hand or not based on their actions. So, for example, if the board comes 10 high and the 2 players who are in the hand with you have both checked, there's a strong possibility that neither of them has a 10, for the simple reason that anyone that's got a 10 wants to generally protect the hand. So it means that if you put a strong enough bet out there, they can't generally call unless, of course, they've got a monster hand like a set of 10s or a set of 9s or whatever that happens to be. So it means that you get a chance to bluff, and it means that you don't always have to have the best hand in order to win the pot, and that's what the button does for you. It means it gives you bluffing rights. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it's always good to have emails in as well from people over on the continent, on the mainland. So that was one there from France, and thank you very much, Karen. One last email here before we check on the MTT. This one's from Mark, and Mark says, hi, Kara and Mark. Enjoying the show, and you look lovely as always, Kara. Oh, thanks very much. See, you guys think that if you say that, I'll read your emails out, and you're absolutely right. It's fine by me. He says, can I ask you a question? With your martial arts background, do you apply similar logic in your card game? For example, when you see folding a pocket pair of ladies after the flop where an opponent is being resistive, and you read him as having possible superior strength, as admission of defeat or a well-executed defensive block to protect your chip stack. I like it. I didn't understand most of it, but I liked it. You know what? When I first started fighting, the first 2 fights that I got into the ring, I lost. And then I won every single fight after that. Because the first 2, I was really nervous, and I forgot to breathe, and I forgot to do everything that I'd been taught, and I just kind of went blindly in with my fists. And I kind of think I did that a little bit as well here. So hopefully in time I will learn to relax a little bit and apply the same logic as I did in Thai boxing. with my killer instinct, to poker.
Yeah.
Great
Watch
question.
out, guys.
Thanks.
You're in trouble.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look now at the MTT and see how people are getting on there.
So here it is, and L Pig, he gets around a bit, doesn't he?
He does.
He's just been knocked out, unfortunately. So blinds are 500, 1,000. I'll let you know how many players and everything just in a moment. 28 players are left at the moment. So, and the biggest stack is 49,000. I've been reliably informed. So. Pretty good going there. So he's obviously got 14. This one, a nice simple one to work out. 49 times a big blind. So he's pretty in pretty good stead. Anyone really here at this stage who's got less than 10,000 have to be looking to make a move at some point. It's not desperate at the moment. It really starts to get desperate, I think, in this situation when you've got about 7,000 or below, 7,000 or below. Blinds are 500, 1,000. So there's still a little bit of play. And our small stack at the moment is, well, I think it's probably enough said. He's on 4,600. He's the shortest stack at the moment. So he's in a bit of a desperate situation at the moment with, well, it's a strange play by
Not a bad
Vegas.
hand, though, to go in with.
Yeah, I think he might push here. He's just perhaps wondering why he's limped under the gun. That's quite a strong play, actually. Oh, look, he's hit it. He says, well, he's hit it as well. So it's quite a strong play by Vidas, but very risky, limping in. He's limped in, and everyone's saying, well, why have you limped in for 20% of your stack in early position? Enough said, thinking, well, I've got a king to aim for, a queen, or a 10, and all that happens is that the guy houses up, and enough said is out, unfortunately. Yeah, that is unfortunate for him. He had a nice hand there, and the flop wasn't too unkind, but just wasn't great at the end of the day. Well, there's another player gone. So down to 27 now.
So everyone we're seeing here is in the money at one level or another.
Yeah, they're at 27 places. There's money starts to creep up as you get higher and closer and closer to the final table. It does tend to creep up somewhat, and we'll be going through some of the prizes just in a moment. This tournament started off with well over 300 players. So you tend to find when there are so many players, it does mean that the prize pools are fairly generous. So 353 was what it actually started off with. So that means there's $3,500 in the prize pool. First prize is $882, so very nice indeed. And 27th place, just to give you an idea, gets paid $24. So that stays at $24 all the way up to 21st place, and then it changes at 20th place.
There you
It
go.
goes up to $31.
Well, we are going to take you through our feature now because it is almost midnight and you have only a few minutes left to get in your answers for the what's in the hole segment here. It's not really a competition, it's more for your benefit. So let's take a look at this. Now take a look at what is being played here. Now what do you think the Firebird is holding in his hand?
Well, Pakistan Engel, I presume England, is making a move with, well, not making a move, he's got a nice hand, jacks, although he's only just called. And he keeps putting out these funny little $1 bets, which is a strange play, really, but he gets check raised here. And the Firebird is saying, I don't think you've got a queen, so I'm going to see if you have or not. I'm going to put you to the test. He gets some resistance from Pakistan, who believes that his hand might still be good. He re-raises to 7, and the Firebird calls. So he's now asking himself. He keeps putting out a $1 bet into a $17 pot. Doesn't make much sense. And strangely enough, he gets checked, and he puts in another $1 bet, which is another strange play. So I think he's perhaps trying to tease the Firebird. He's either convinced that he's winning and he wants to tease him into a re-raise. So, what was in the hole? Text your answer and the word hole. So text hole and your answer to 62211. And you've only got a couple of minutes left, haven't they? So they need to do it quick. So 62211, text the word hole and your answer to that.
There you go. Right, now once we come back from our break, you're going to be seeing the tournament that I was just playing in. It was a $2 tournament, and if you've been watching, which you obviously have, you'll know that I went out 5th, which is a little better than the last time I did, so I'm pretty proud of that. But you feel free to watch very soon and send in your comments and your emails on my horrendous plays and my brilliant plays. I think I had a couple of those, but that could be just me. Anyways, we will be back after the break, so make sure you stay tuned for more fantastic poker action here on Poker Night Live. Hello and welcome back to Poker Night Live. We're here at the final, the second half anyways of our journey, our poker journey in fact.
Yeah.
We're going to be seeing the tournament that I just played in the last hour, as well as some other stuff as well. We've got the answer to our What's in the Hole. We've got our new What's in the Hole for you, so you have to stay tuned and watch all of that coming up. Also, if you're about to watch the tournament I played in, you may notice that I need a bit of help. That I need a bit more, not just encouragement, because everyone's been really lovely with that, but actual, I don't know, give me some tips, people. This is what I'm asking for. So if you want to, you could send me a text or an email. Let me know where you think I went wrong in this tournament. Take a look at it, and then, yeah, send me your texts or emails and tell me what I should do differently.
Yeah.
All right, so this is how you get in touch with us here in the studio.
Well, you can text in to 62211.
Yes,
That's
you
the text number. Alternatively, you can email the show at Poker Night Live.
That's right. So that is what I'm asking you to do. Let me know what you think would be helping my game. Now, let's take a look at our What's in the Hole feature. This started yesterday, or this morning, in fact, at midnight, and it's gone a whole day, 24 hours, and we're going to show you now what the answer is. So I won't ask you what you thought it was.
Okay.
Okay, but let's take a look at this and see what the reveal says. I believe.
Yep, so the answer was Queen 2.
It was. So if you were watching very carefully, you will see that that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go, Queen 2, and we'll have another What's in the Hole for you as soon as we can. It's going to be this hour, so do stay tuned. But before that, let's take a look at an email. Now, we have an email here from the top of the show. It was James. Now, James did say to us he had 2 questions, and we didn't get around to the second one, which was not very good of us. So, shall we do that now?
Yeah, let's do that, yeah.
Okay, it's a nice quick one. It says, this is from James in Wrexham. It says, what is the best way to deal with scare cards when you have a good hand on the flop? So, nice, simple question there.
Well, I'm not quite sure what he means by scare cards when you've got a good hand on the flop. What you really want to do with scare cards is try and ascertain what your opponent has. That's the key to all of it. There's no point saying, okay, well, there's 2 diamonds on the board, so they're scare cards. You've got to decide that how that affects what's the likelihood of him having this hand, and you've got to put some tests to it. And the only way you can ever test your opponents is, guess what? By betting. But it's the amount that you've got to bet. And really the way to do the betting is you've got to really ask yourself what you want to achieve in the betting. Do you want to build the pot up? Do you want to put a test bet? Do you want to put a test bet that you can get away from if he re-raises you? Or do you want to put a test bet in that's sufficient that if he does re-raise you can still call for another card yourself? So, all these questions you've got to ask yourself. So you've got to do it in such a way that does throw out the question. Now, there are different ways of doing it and there are different amounts of betting, and you've got to really ascertain what kind of question you want to ask. And you've got to decide what you're going to do if he makes certain moves. Now, if you put in a small little test bet and he re-raises you, generally the re-raise still has to be small because there's only a certain amount that's in the pot. So you might make the bet small enough so that you can call another bet from that if he does end up re-raising you. Mm-hmm. So, there are all sorts of different ways of doing it, but the key is at the end of the day, you've got to put some kind of bet out there. So, for example, a simple one of a scary board might be that you've got pocket kings and there comes an ace on the board. Now, if you're first to act, you can't just check it to him. You know, because he could be betting with anything. You know, he could have a pair of queens and betting. You know, doing what you should have been doing. So the key thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you ask some kind of question. So you would put out a bet of approximately half the size of the pot, and if he's still sticking around, then you've got to ask yourself: has he got an ace, or has he got some kind of draw on there? And that's really what you want to do.
Okay, well, good advice to remember. Now, I believe we have my tournament all ready for you all to watch out there, so do watch carefully. Send in any kind of constructive advice that you'd like. I'm thick-skinned, I can take it. Right, let's take a look at this.
Let's take a look indeed. So do you want no holds barred commentary, or?
I do. But let me just say, I had such a hard time actually just sitting down because it filled up so quickly. But someone, and I don't know who it was because I was in such a state of panic, gave up their seat for me. In fact, 2 people gave up their seats, and one of them had it nicked by someone else.
Ah, okay. That's very nice of them. That's the kind of guys we've got playing on Poker Night Live.
It was lovely.
Very thoughtful, yeah. So let's have a look, young carer, where you are. You're in middle position there. So okay, we've got to. Let's see if we can get any information about how these guys are playing. Okay, so they've both got straight draws, got top pair. See if we can glean some information about their styles of play as well. Well, not much happening here.
Not the greatest of starting hands.
No, he's put a bit of a stop bet out there, and well, he's taking it down. He must be pretty pleased with that. Sort of a weak bet there, but he felt it was probably best. Don't think that was a good stop bet. Nothing you can do with Jack 9, simple throwaway hand from your position, and you've done the right thing.
Phew, I'm glad I did.
Yep.
A couple
So
of times.
1 out of 1 so far.
Thank goodness for that. A couple of times I know I did. I limped in before the flop when I shouldn't have. I didn't have the starting hand for it. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing. I think I was trying not to be as consistent with just waiting for the best hand.
You can do that as long as you've got sort of position on the field. Well, you've got 10-2. One's a simple fold. Nothing you can do there. 2 out of 2.
Yep. 2 out of 2 ain't bad.
Well, 3 out of 3
so far.
in fact, because I think I caught a glimpse of your first hand.
Oh, it was rubbish.
Yeah, so 3 out of 3. You're doing well so far.
Oh, good.
3 out of 3. That's 100%. That's
Excellent.
A plus. No, could do
Haven't
be better.
played it. No, not yet. I haven't played anything yet. Oh boy.
Okay. Jack Queen.
Right, here's where I'm thinking I probably shouldn't have gone. I'm in earliest position.
Mind it. I don't mind it.
No?
You might get told off by other presenters, but I personally don't mind a limp in. It's cheap. Why not?
Well, I was just thinking, I was being so consistent in my last tournament about just playing the very best hands, and I wanted to mix it up a bit more.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. And it's cheap. It's not costing you. So you get re-raised, you throw it away, well, you've lost nothing really.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's no problem at all.
Got to see the flop. I didn't connect.
You didn't connect, and not a lot you can do really.
No.
If anyone puts a bet out here, then you can forget about it, and all you lost is 20. So no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
Okay,
4 out of
cool.
4 as far as I'm concerned.
Right, it wasn't a deal breaker anyways.
Yeah, so fold there, he's betting out of first position, he's more than likely got a king. You know, he's unlikely to do that with an 8.
Yeah.
If he's betting first out, and he's betting into 4 players, he's not likely to do that with anything but a king. So yeah, 4 out of 4.
Okay, I'm on the big blind here,
Okay.
but I don't really have a great starting hand.
Not a great starting hand, a deceptive starting hand, and if there's a bet of less than 60 or less, then I would tend to call.
I should have called, I think.
But we'll
Let's
see what
they
happens.
do.
But you know, this guy's going to probably put a big bet out here, so you're probably going to have to fold. I dare say this bet will be more than 60 here. Yeah, it will.
Yeah, okay.
So that's okay to fold that.
Right. And let it just be said that I do now know how to change the amount that I bet, because throughout this entire game, for the life of me, I could not figure it out on the software, which is not saying a lot for me. I think I was probably tunnel visioned into the game because I was so nervous. Now I figured it out, people, and I am sorry. That was rubbish. You're absolutely right, all of you that said it was rubbish of me not to know in the chat box.
Well, Queen 2. Nothing doing there. Queen 8. And I think I wouldn't be spending any money on this hand. 8-4. Simple fold for me. Not even for 10 I wouldn't be calling here.
No.
Yeah, unless there was 6 players in the pot, then I might call with 8-4, but no other reason to.
No, I figured they were too far apart, and
yeah, that's horrible hand.
Yeah.
So 6 out of 6 I think we're on to. Isn't that right? 6
I
out of
think
6?
so. Not so bad so far.
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay.
So
I'm breathing
ace
better
9.
anyways.
Yeah, I don't like the bet with the ace-9 here because there are too many players behind him, I think. So I would like to check call, and now if he gets re-raised, he's just cost himself a little bit. But it's worked out okay for him because that hasn't happened. And he's hit his... Gan has hit his straight. Perfect card for him. And Jajat has just spent too much on a draw, really. And he's just trying to force it through, hoping that he was on a draw and he's missed. And he is on a draw and he's hit, unfortunately, Jajat. So Gan, I think, was hoping that he had a bit more than what he did, and unfortunately he had absolutely nothing, so he couldn't call that bet. Well, Jack 4, if you fold here, then that'll be pretty much 7 out of 7, even with... yeah, he can't call now. If there was no one calling, then maybe, but there's no point calling behind a Jack, with Jack 4, his rubbish hand. 7 out of 7.
All right. Okay. So far, so not bad.
So
I'm not going to say so far so good yet, but so far so not bad. Now, it's been suggested that I try and get more experience playing under a pseudonym, because everyone in the chat box thought that I was being put off by the fact that they all knew who I was. And,
yeah, that might be better for generally all the presenters, I think, so that they never know what it is, and everyone can just play their normal game.
Yeah, out of the line of fire.
Because I think people tend to start playing differently once they know who you are.
Right. Well, they certainly would with me, considering...
I think they would with anyone generally, for
Okay.
different reasons perhaps, but, you know. Well, nothing you could do with that hand, so that's 8 out of 8, I think we're on to.
Okay, nice.
So far so good. Queen 9, middle position.
I didn't think it was strong enough.
Yeah.
But at this
probably.
point, I'm starting to think, I really haven't played in a while.
Yeah. Well, you haven't had anything to play with, really.
I didn't think
but,
so.
But Queen 9's okay. You could, if you made a call with that hand, then it wouldn't be too bad.
I think this is where I was looking at you going, what do I do? What do I do? And you were saying, well, it's up to you.
Yeah, King Jack. Okay to call. You're in early position. So, okay to call here.
I probably should have called this. I don't know if I did.
Well, I assume you must call it a bet of 20.
I hope I did. I don't know if I did.
Well,
I don't think I did.
Then it'll be 9 out of 10 if you didn't.
Yeah, I think so. I think that... Oh, no, I did. Phew.
Okay. Now, with a board of 10-4-4, if he bets, I will likely to... unless it's small... Yeah, if it's small, then I'm likely to call here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't connect at all, so I just didn't think...
Yeah, because he could be doing that with nothing, and he's only got 20. Cool, for you, if you hit your king or jack, you're probably going to be best.
Okay, so maybe if I... Yeah, I should have seen it cheaply. I should have gotten in there and seen another card.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing. And plus, even if a queen comes,
Yeah.
that's not too bad for you either. You've now got an up and down straight draw.
True,
So
true.
you had a lot of cards to hit, potentially, for a very, very cheap price. So...
That's what I got to look at.
So you were looking for a jack or a queen or a king in that situation. An ace wouldn't have been too bad either, but wouldn't have been great, because what it would have done in that situation would have slowed him playing down, because now he wants a slow play against you with his 2 pair.
Yeah.
It would have might let you in cheap again to hit your straight, possibly.
True.
So a call there. So,
Okay, so I lost an opportunity there,
lost an
definitely.
opportunity, yeah, but it was not the worst play in the world. It just, I think when you've got a cheap chance to catch a card, ask yourself what you're looking to hit.
Okay.
And you're looking to hit a jack, queen or king, and that's probably going to be the best hand if you hit.
Okay.
Not guaranteed, but probably. Certainly the queen will allow you to look at another cheap flop, as he would have now been scared by that queen. So 2-7, making a move from the button, trying to nick some blinds. And he's probably going to get away with it. B3 Ranger doesn't want to know with his king high. I don't blame him. So 10 jack. You have to be a little bit careful now. We're starting to drop down in chips. So you don't mind calling anything that's up to 100 here.
Okay.
So with 10 jack, even though you are going to be out of position, but...
But everyone else is folding around me, and I...
Yeah, you pick it up. Okay, so you pick it up without even having to do anything.
Thank God for that.
Now you're in 8-10. If it's worth calling this, if no one makes a raise. I wouldn't call any raise, though. minimum raise has got to be 80, so it means you'd have to call 60. It wouldn't be worth it. But if anyone limps in, I might have limped in with it. Especially against a short stack, I might have limped in because I could probably bully him on the flop. So I think you could have limped in at that point.
Good point, yeah. I think you're absolutely
Blinds
right.
are only 20-40, and there's a good chance to win a set of blinds and that buys you another round, basically.
Yeah, very true.
But still, nothing too major so far. No
Rookie errors,
no
definitely
major
rookie
surgery
errors.
required. Well, set of 5s there for V3. He's going to like that, but that board is quite scary. Very straightening type of board, so I think he needs to put a bet out here and probably needs to make it I was going to say 160, and for me there's nothing wrong there with that. Sometimes you just can't get paid on your sets, that's really what it boils down to.
Right.
He might get something out of Gan, I don't know. He might be trying to get his 6. No, he doesn't. Yeah, sometimes you've got to accept that you've got a big hand, set of 5s, nice big hand, but when a board is like that, you just got to accept that that's probably all you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, unfortunately. We've got a hand here, Queen Jack. Now, from this late position, might be tempted to raise. So I might be tempted to put in a raise. A call is not terrible either, but I might be tempted to raise from the cut-off position.
And again, I saw the flop and I thought, well, I don't really
if no one
connect.
bets here, this is definitely a chance for you to bluff. But having said that, Gan has got the 4.
Yeah.
So it means he would have re-raised you. But most times they won't have the 4, so most times you get away with it.
Oh, he put in a little bet and he's trying to bluff me out.
No, he's not bluffing. He's actually got the set
Well,
of 4s,
I know, but
yeah.
he's trying to pull me in by...
Trying to pull you in by putting a little bet, yeah.
But I was having none of it.
No.
And thank goodness for that. I could have lost a lot of money on that round. Or chips, yes.
Yeah, so that would have been a benefit of actually raising with Queen Jack in that situation, because he probably wouldn't have called with King 4.
Right, so if I...
Not King 4, it was something else, wasn't it? It was some other 4, some
yeah,
rag
something 4, yeah.
6-4.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
if I'd have pushed him off it in the first place, he wouldn't have seen the flop.
He wouldn't have seen it was 6-4, no. If you put a little raise in, so you would have won the blinds. So I think that was an opportunity to win the blinds. Sometimes you've got to win pots by actually betting rather than relying on your hands.
Yeah.
So that's
something
what new players,
haven't done yet.
That's what new players tend to do. They rely on their hands, and they're always trying to make their hand.
I think that's exactly what I've been doing. I've not even a single time tried to push someone off a pot, I think.
Well, I think you did.
Did I?
I think so. We'll see a bit later. If I remember correctly, there was one.
Well, not to this point.
Not up to this point, you haven't, no.
So Sir Wins-A-Lot was playing this against me while he was doing the cash game as well on the table that you were commentating on.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of players like to play sort of mixed tournaments and cash games together. I don't personally like it, but a lot of people do. So Jack 6, nothing doing here, especially as you're going to probably have to face a bet from V3 Ranger. And he just flat calls, which I would have liked to see some kind of bet there from V3 Ranger, I think. He's got to ask a question as to what wizard has limped in with for a start. Right. Because the last thing you want to do is hit a jack and the guy's sitting there with aces or kings. You're just going to blow all your stack. So I think he needs to ask him the question pre-flop, and plus, he doesn't want to play ace-jack multi-way. It doesn't play well against lots of opponents.
Yeah. Not really a great hand against a lot of people.
No, it's not, no.
Not a lot out there, really.
No, but V3 Ranger can pick this up, and I think he's missed an opportunity. He's seen 3 people check a 9-5-3 flop. Let's face it, if anyone had a 9 in their hand, they're not going to be checking that flop. No one's shown particularly any aggression, so it's not as if they're waiting for the initial, the lead in the betting to take it over. So it means that he could have represented something that he hasn't got. So I think he missed an opportunity to pick up 160 there.
Yeah, and QP is just got the only pair now.
Yeah, pair of 6s. And
for nothing almost.
For nothing, yeah, absolutely. He had the worst hand, or I think it was worst or second worst hand. So he missed opportunity there, V3, I think. 160 would have been very nice on top of your stack indeed. Nearly, about 50. What did you just have just now? Did you see? I just missed it.
Oh, I missed it as well, but it wasn't anything.
Okay.
There's something like 9 2 or some rubbish.
Oh, set of 2s and a big bet there from
Wow.
Sir Wins-A-Lot. He's obviously worried that someone might have be flushing, and he's decided to just take it down there and then. I think he could have played that. I think he needed to put a bet out. I just don't think it needs to be that big.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It was dangerous because if someone did have a flush draw and decided to see it through and hit it.
Yeah, I just think he needs to. It would be a nice opportunity to build the pot and ask a question of who's on the draw. So he could have made it around, probably around 180, 200, 220, something along that area. Would have been, I think, a good amount to bet. Ace-5, and he's getting a bit excited with this ace-5 from early position.
Yeah, he only did have 420 though, so it was really short stacked.
Well, he's not that short compared to the blinds, though.
I suppose
no, not really.
so. Yeah, that's a good point, really. I should be thinking it's still 10 times a big blind.
Yeah, no, he's not desperate. I think he could have waited. To go through 8 players with ace-5 or 7 players is...
I don't think I defended my big blind here. I
You
get a bit of
with
tunnel
ace-9?
vision.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Especially against this guy here, Quip, who's shown to be aggressive. Yeah, he's just taking advantage there. So, yeah, that's... But still, ace-9's not a great hand. You know, you're out of position on future betting rounds.
Yeah.
Well, 2-5, not a lot you can do there.
No. It's so much easier to see what I should have done watching it back like this in sort of the cool, calm light of day.
Yeah, it's much easier to see when you can see the cards and when you've had a chance to reflect
Yeah.
and when you can have a chance to reflect.
True, but seeing the cards doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't. So a couple of aces, ace-7 and ace-jack. What's Wizard going to do here? He's only limped. And I'd like to see a raise from V3 Ranger. Don't like the limp here, and he hasn't. That's good. That's the right move.
Yeah, I didn't want to touch it with that sort of raise in there.
Yeah. Wow, it's worked out okay for Wizard because he's hit top pair. Which I'm sure he's going to bet out with a flop of 3 diamonds. He doesn't want to take a chance that V3. And that's the worst thing he can probably do is put a bet out of 80. Because if he calls him, he's in, you know, it's not really what he wants to do. He's almost like just building the pot. He's fortunate that V3 Ranger is obliged by re-raising. And barring a jack, well, V3 Ranger's out.
Yeah.
Hey, he went out in a very strange way.
Yeah, poor V3
He's sort of
Ranger.
aggressive at the wrong times and passive at the wrong times, so he needs to swap those around a bit.
I hate to admit it, but I breathed a little sigh of relief there. I wasn't the first one out.
Well, not a lot you can do with this hand, Kara.
No, and I'm watching my stack get smaller and smaller. And in the chat box at this point as well, everyone was pointing out to me how small it was getting and that I really needed to make a move. And they were exhorting me to, push my chips in. But I didn't really want to do that with nothing in my hand.
No, you don't really want to do it with a complete
Rubbish hand.
rubbish hand. Yeah, you want to give yourself a chance.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, at least a chance, something. And I've got less than 10 times a big blind, so I'm starting to get a bit worried.
Yeah, not desperate situation yet for you. You don't have to do anything too drastic.
10-4, again, not a good hand. Threw it away.
No, not a good hand at all.
Right, now I've got the ace-king.
Okay, so I'd like to see a raise here, maybe around 240.
See, at this point, this is before I figured out how to use the damn software. And my own fault, because I just probably wasn't looking properly. So
Okay.
I hit the,
All right, well, You haven't done it, so
Nope, I
now that
haven't.
you haven't, I'll be looking to check raise at this situation.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll be looking to check raise.
Because everyone else was playing quite passively.
Yeah, because you've got a hand where an ace, king, or queen will help you.
Yeah, and I wish I'd have... Let's see. And here is I just so kicked myself. Oh.
Yeah, you would have hit the lead.
Yeah, I would have taken the lead there. Oh, I'm hanging my head in shame.
And you would have had people who would have paid you off as well because they're drawing.
Ouch.
So they would have paid you off. I'm not sure we would have paid you off. I mean, he's taken a view that FC doesn't have a 10. And
oh, that hurts to see that.
Yeah.
That was rubbish.
Well,
at least I can see it was rubbish.
Well, I don't think it was rubbish. I think it's just the fact that it wasn't an easy play to make because, especially with QP calling, you're wondering what he's calling with. But you had a chance to hit 3 cards for a little amount, and that was the thing. The bet was small. You could have a look at the next card fairly cheaply. And
I need to take more time when I'm looking at the flop, when I'm trying to decide whether or not I have actually hit on it, or if I've created a draw or something that would be worthwhile. I think I'm just reacting too quickly. Yeah,
absolutely. You just need to. It just takes time to actually spot everything as well. When you're a new player, it's easy for me to sit here and spot these things.
Oh no, I mean,
when you're a new player, you can
get the input.
You can not normally spot these things that easily.
Yeah.
You don't always call with ace king over. You see, if the flop was something like 6-5-4, you might not be too enthused about calling with ace king because then you're only talking about 2 overcards. You haven't got the queen to make you the straight. So and plus 6-5-4, you could be losing to a straight already. So you don't always call. You wouldn't always call with ace king to a small bet.
But that was a good flop for an ace king.
But that wasn't a bad flop for an ace king. You've got to ask yourself, well, what am I looking for? What kind of flops am I looking for ace king? I'm looking for something like, you see, if it had come queen jack X, then that's exactly the same, really, because you still need the 10, or you still need the 1 card to make you a straight.
I have to watch that in future.
Yeah, just something to take note of for future games.
I finally have a pair.
And you've got someone who's got a bigger pair, unfortunately.
I know.
Well, there's not a lot you can do in this situation. You're going to raise, he's going to re-raise, and you're probably going to have to follow it through.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for calling here.
But we shall see what happens. I didn't think there was anything else I could do.
No, you don't. I don't think you've done anything wrong. Okay. You're unfortunate that, well, you really need running clubs, or can't see how you're going to quit quite out this one. You don't. What happens? Is that how you went out, or has he got less chips? Oh, he's got less chips than you. Okay, so he's got less chips than you.
I was lucky there.
Yeah.
I was lucky to just stay in by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah, that's very true. So you've got a couple of interesting hands, and you can't really call here. I think this is a throwaway for you.
Yeah.
Because you want to be the raiser, not the caller, when you're making your move. Doesn't really make any difference in this situation, because at the end of the day, you're not really raising, because at the end of the day, the blind is less than that, and is more than that anyway. So it's not more than that, but anyone will call you with 440.
Yeah, it's a pretty paltry sum for me to be putting into the pot.
Well, QP wins it with his ace-9. He's been fairly aggressive. And this is probably a hand I would make my move with.
And so I did.
And so you did. So you've done nothing wrong there. Got to make a move at some point. You've got 2 hands to do it in. Is ace-10 likely to be the best of those? And I'd say it probably is. So that's your timing's spot on.
Good. I was lucky to get a hand that I could do that with at that point.
Yeah, he can't fold here, regardless of what he has. For 140, he's not going to fold. He's getting more than 3 to 1.
And considering how aggressive he's been as well.
Yeah, even if he had 2-3 or 2-7, he'd still have to call. And barring, yep, and there you go. Yeah, flush on the end.
Phew.
Puts you up to 680. Still a bit desperate because the blinds are creeping towards you. 7-8, early position. I think I'd have to throw it away.
Yeah. I was hoping to see FC or Sir Wins-a-Lot go out before I was.
Yeah, I'm not saying I definitely would have thrown it away, but I think I'll be tempted to throw it away. 240. The only problem is 240 is about to come off my stack. So that's another consideration, but I can probably survive another 4 or 5 hands and hope that I get something better than 7-8 suited. Yeah.
I was conscious of how long it took me to make decisions as well, and the fact that everyone could see how long it took me, and what that was saying to them about my hand. So many things to think about.
So Ace King taking no chances, making a healthy raise. 4 times a big blind. And Wizard can't call this, so he's going to throw it away, and he does. Well, QP's going to have a little go again by the looks of it. It is this time Ace Queen.
Yeah.
And you've got a horrible hand once again. Can't really call a raise with that.
Nope, I'm being blinded away.
Yeah, you've got to make a stand at some point, but that's not the hand to do it with.
Yeah.
Well, he has got called. He's got looked up by Sir Wins-a-Lot. It's a very loose call there with King 8. Don't know really what he's doing with a hand, to be honest, in middle position. Well, it's all bar over for Sir Wins-a-Lot.
And again, I breathe a little sigh of relief, and I am sorry, Sir Wins-a-Lot. It wasn't personal. I was just glad that I did better than my last tournament.
And I was going to say he's probably going to make a move at his hand. And once again, you can't call. Even though you've got a 50-50 shot, you can't really call here. There's someone behind you still to act, so you don't know what he's going to do. And plus the fact that you've got a weak case, which it could be dominated. Well, 2 pair for Judge, whatever his name is. And that's going to be enough to take out FC.
Yeah, and goodbye to another player.
Okay, King 7. Blinds are 81-60. Really depends on whether you feel you can get. Well, it doesn't matter now because he's raised anyway. Raised with the Ace 10. Because it really depends whether you feel you can get away with a bet there. With King 7. Well, you've got Queen 5.
I'm desperately hoping for a much better hand to make my move with, but mindful that I don't have a lot of time left.
No, you've only got, the blinds are 81-60.
Not much going on.
240, no, you've probably got to do it.
Pretty much now.
Pretty much next hand, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to leave you with 280 minus the next blind.
Oof.
Of 80, that'll be on 200, yeah, you've got to do something now.
Yeah.
You've got to do something on this hand or the next hand. One of the next 2 hands. In fact, the next hand, sorry, because that's seat is empty there, isn't it? So.
Yeah, yeah. I'm quite glad that I got down to this many people. I know it doesn't seem like a big accomplishment for a lot of poker players out there, but being very new to this, just seeing other empty seats around the table makes me feel really good about it.
Well, he's picked up queens again. Shame you haven't picked up any of these hands.
I know.
Would have made your life a little easier.
It would have done. Yeah, I would have done.
Well, there's 5 players left at this stage.
Someone was saying in the chat box that on these games where the presenters are playing, people seem to really tighten up a lot.
Yeah,
Do you think that's the case?
I don't know. I've only seen one, but they certainly were playing tight yesterday, and I think they basically don't want to make a fool of themselves in front of the presenter by doing some outrageous move that doesn't work.
God, like I would notice.
So what have you done here? You've raised. Have you a Queen 8?
I wanted to go all in, but I couldn't find the. Oh, see again. I'm
Okay.
such a bit of a div, I'm afraid.
Well, it's okay.
I'm making my move, only not quite making my move. It's just terrible.
Now, this is really where this guy should be raising, and he does. The raise is too small, though. Should be doubling it at least. Make it 640, and he doesn't do it.
I finally managed to put the rest of them in, and I've got the pair of 8s, which is still less than the pair of 10s, obviously, but...
Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
Nope, doesn't know that.
He might have a king.
Getting no information off of me because I'm all in already.
Oh, you haven't put... Oh, so you are, yeah.
I'm all in, so he's not going to get anything else off of me. No, that doesn't help me. But that does. This is my very favorite hand of the whole game.
Queen 8.
Oh.
I told you before, Kara, it's 7-8, not Queen 8.
It worked for me. Thank you, lovely lady. Yeah, I think I really lucked out, though, on that one. I mean, the odds of that happening were, I don't know what they were, but they, you know.
Not as bad as you think.
No?
About 3.5 to 1 on the flop.
I suppose that's not so bad.
Out of the next 2 cards, pairing your other whole card.
And at this point, I think it all starts to go wrong. I think I started to go, I'm actually not so bad at this poker malarkey. And yeah, played a bit rubbish. Like that.
What do you mean like that?
Well, it's not a very good hand, is it?
No, but you're in the blinds.
I know.
So
I suppose it's the later stages of a 12.
You can't fold it.
Ish.
Yeah, but you didn't call her a bet, did you?
No.
Raise? No. So you've done nothing wrong there at all.
All right.
That's all, you didn't do anything. So
I suppose I didn't do anything at all, you're right.
yeah, so how could you do anything wrong?
Yeah.
Now, this might be a time to put a little bet out here. Try and steal it from him, and the reason being is because he's just won a pot from you. Oh, hold on, he's got no chips, has he? No, you can't do that. He'll just call you almost anything. Okay, so no, that wouldn't have been a good timing. And got those pair of 10s again.
Yep. And again, I was wishing that I had
I think a re-raise.
put in a big...
I don't think that would have changed anything, mind you. I think he's still going to call you ace queen.
Yeah, and he said his queen, and I am just dead in the water.
Yeah, you need a 10, and it doesn't come. In fact, he makes a straight on the end.
Oh, I must say goodbye to Great Scott. Oh, no, I still have 320, don't I? I thought I went all in there.
No,
Saved by the fact that I didn't know how to use the software.
Well, not much of a hand here for you.
Nope.
4-5 against ace-8. He's decided that now's the time. And he's in effect in the cut-off position. One before the button.
Yep. Can I just point out as well that I didn't choose the name Great Scott? It's not like I think I am that great. It was chosen for me. I think it's a little bit of irony from the producers.
Well, he's made his flush on the end there. He must be very pleased about that. Probably just wishes he had a few more chips. So king 8, and you're all in on a big blind.
Yep.
His small buttons are selected to call, and small blinds are selected to fold. So, Not a lot you can do in this situation.
Nope.
King 9 against King Jack.
And that is it.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot you could have done, Kira.
But, you know, there's some definite mistakes in there. Some things I need to rethink.
Yeah,
and a bit of
nothing major.
practice I need.
Nothing major.
No?
No.
I haven't disgraced the presenters here, the name
No,
of the
the ace,
presenters.
The thing with the Ace King wasn't that terrible.
Yeah.
You know, wasn't that terrible.
Well, that's high praise indeed.
Yeah. So, well, that was probably the worst
Yeah.
mistake, I think. So, and that wasn't even that bad. So,
Okay, so one piece of advice for me?
just take your time. Look, judge. You know, ask yourself what you're looking for, and if people are giving you the opportunity to see cheap cards, then say to them, "Well, is this what do I need to see? Is it worth me having a look at a cheap card? Is it worth me buying a card cheaply like that? And will there be a card that could help me?" You know, so, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to heed that advice, I hope, and I'm going to play a little bit more, get a bit more experience, I think, which will help me as well. Right, now let's watch the rest of the tournament, because these players, they played valiantly, and they deserve to have it shown out here.
Okay.
I don't believe it lasted much longer after I left.
Well, he just doubles through there with his hand, so pair of 5s this time, pushing all in, and doesn't get called, so 480 is very welcome indeed. And it's a good fold by Gan there to try and bluff himself, what would have been a bluff himself out of this situation.
Right, we are at the bubble. It's a bubble situation. Oh, it's tense. There we go. And these 3 last players are all in the money in this tournament. And they played well, I have to say.
They did.
Aggressive in a lot of places. Played very well. Stole most of my blinds, I'll tell you that. I think Gan 241 ended up with most of mine.
Did he?
Yeah.
All the way from over there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a famous Queen 8 again. Not in your hands, though. So, down to 2. QP's been the most aggressive. Ace 8 against Jack 3. He's hit a 3. And there's the 8. So he needs only a Jack will do, or another 3. And in fact, he 2 pairs up on the end. Gives him the win. So he's looking pretty healthy now. The blinds are crippling. 320, 640. So King 4 against King 7. He can get out of this if he hits a 5 to split the pot.
Well, they both seem to be hanging on by the skin of their teeth, going back and forth here.
Yeah, a little bit of backwards and forwards. So first to bet here will win. He's realised there's an opportunity there, and he's taking it.
Yeah, as you said, the blinds are quite high at this point, so it's definitely worth stealing those. Defending your own, because at this point you're either on the big blind or the small blind.
Okay, just taking this last hand, I think.
I think so. I think so. Yep, two brave warriors, poker warriors, battling it out for supremacy and $2. No, it was a $2 buy-in. Obviously, they're making more. What would they make on that?
Well, first would get, for a $2 tournament, first would get 8.
Okay.
Second would get 4. No, well, second would get 5 and 3 for third.
Okay. I live for the day when I actually come in third and make it into the money.
First would be...
Yeah, well, first. No, definitely first. I think probably third. Just making it into the money would make me happy at this point. You got to start building up my my credit again here on the show. Don't even want to talk about what's done to my street cred. Terrible.
Well, pair of 2s for Wizards, not going to be enough. And
No.
QP has won it. He was playing the most aggressive and he
Well
ended up
done.
winning it, yeah.
And well done to QP. You were a
Yeah.
valiant opponent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he was.
You absolutely were. Now, if anyone out there was watching either from who was one of the players in the game or just watching it as one of our viewers and wants to let me know what you thought about that, maybe give me a piece of advice, as Mark was doing, kind enough to do, so that my next tournament, which is only a few days away, let's be honest, yeah, I probably won't have a chance to get any practice in, so I need all the advice I can get. Let me know what you think. You can send me a text or you can send me an email with your helpful poker hints. Right, now we have some emails here as well, so we might as well go through those.
Okay.
We've got a fairly long question, and this is from V-Ranger.
All right,
V3
yeah, we were
Ranger.
just watching him, yeah.
We're just watching you play. Email from Mike. Hi there, guys. Great show as always. I'm now a regular watcher emailing regarding my 9-10 suited fold in the multi-table tournament before the button. The reason was, I'd just been moved from a table I was dominating. I was 25th at that time and got moved to the table where there were 3 big stacks on my left. I'd previously raised 4 big blinds from one before the button with 7-8 suited. The flop goes ace, queen, 6. I bet on the flop 4 times the big blind again and was called. Then the turn on the river was 7 and 9. I bet both and was called raising the bet more. I was called the guy had 8-8, so therefore making any bluff or attempt to steal those blinds in trouble. This hurt my stack really bad and was later knocked out from this due to being at a table with lots of big stacks with no cards and no bluffing power. And then I went all in on ace king and got knocked out by a big stack caller with ace 10. So that is why I didn't make the move with the 9-10 suited. Any suggestions how I could overcome that position would be welcome. Many thanks.
Yeah, well, he's basically putting he's risked a lot on the bluff, and that's really what it boils down to. So I think the problem is you didn't put the guy on any kind of hand. That was the problem. You've got to ask yourself what kind of hand is he on. And you've got to ask yourself prior to that, I'm not sure whether he had any of this information or not, but I think he would have done on this particular guy, is he would have had some information on this guy that some guys can't be bluffed. It's as simple as that. You know, they'll call you down, and there might have been evidence earlier on when he was doing that against a different player with not such a good hand. So it's worth watching out for those situations, who can be bluffed, who can't be bluffed, and making a note so that when it comes to your turn to bluff them, you've got some idea as to whether they're bluffable or not bluffable. Some people calling stations and they can't be pushed off hands. I think with the 9-10, if I remember correctly, it wasn't going to do too much damage to your stack. So really what I was questioning is I don't think you needed to necessarily raise with it, because it is it's a good drawing hand, so you don't mind a few players being in the pot. I was quite happy for you to limp in with it. There's a good chance that you probably would have been in position anyway because you were just one off the button. So it means that you might have had bluffing power anyway, depending on what kind of flop it was. So I think a little limp there wouldn't have cost you a great deal. You might have earned position anyway, being that you're in the cut-off, and seeing what was going to happen. I think the blinds were 1-2 at the time, and I think he had about 4,200, if I remember correctly. So would have left himself with, wouldn't have done any damage to his stack, and if someone raised, he could just throw it away.
Okay,
so I think it would have been worth having a little look with the 9-10 suited. But don't throw so many bullets, is what I'll say. Don't throw so many bullets at a flop, and try and make yourself a story. The guy obviously just didn't believe him for a big hand, that's all. Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. We have another email here, one more for this part of our show. Now this is from Daryl. Daryl says, "Hi guys, just like to say great show. I've been watching for a few weeks now. I have it on pre-record on Sky, so I haven't missed a show yet." Wow, that's fantastic. I've learned a lot from the show. I've been playing for a little over a month and I feel I'm a fair player for how long I've been playing, although I want to really improve my play. I've been reading a book called Harrington on Hold'em by Dan Harrington, and it's an excellent book and I'd recommend it to anyone. I know I've heard the commentators mention that as well here on the show. Anyways, on to my questions. I have two. Number one, what's the best way to play middle-of-the-road pairs? I understand it's a pretty hard question, but I mean, for example, middle of the table with a razor. Should it be fold, call, re-raise? I really find it hard to play these hands. Let's start with that question then.
Okay, let's start with that one.
Yeah.
Well, middle of the road pairs, I mean, you're right in what you said. It is a very difficult question to answer because there are a lot of factors that, especially in a tournament, that you have to take into consideration. What stage are the blinds at? What kind of portion of your stack is the raise? And that's probably the key question, is what portion of your stack is the raise? Now, if it means that it's going to put you in a lot of trouble, then it's probably worth a fold. If it means that you can comfortably call to see a flop and you still won't be in too bad a situation, then maybe it's worth a call, seeing if you can hit a flop and then subsequently getting lots of chips because it gives you so much implied odds when you do hit. The next question is the raiser that's raised. Does he give you implied odds? Has he got a lot of chips behind him, which means that he's going to pay you off? So there are a lot of questions, and it's not such an easy question to answer. What I would say is the key question you ask yourself is, what damage is it doing to my stack? And is the guy going to pay me off if I actually hit my hand? So in order to pay you off, he's got to have lots of chips behind him too. So is he someone that's aggressive and loose with it? So in other words, that he will pay you off once you do hit. So they're the key kind of questions, and that's going to really decide for you whether you should be calling or raising for that matter. So that's all I can say. There's no definitive answer I can give.
No, it's difficult to give definitive answers. A lot of it's based on where you are on the table, like you said, the situation, your opponents. I mean, there's a lot more to consider than just the cards, aren't there?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I mean, the thing that I'd say with this particular situation is that when you're in a situation whereby the guy has got a hand like a middle pair, the other thing to consider is what position is he in the tournament. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. Is it near the bubble? Is it early? Is it late? Is there a juicy cash game starting up that you might want to join? All these are factors because so many people I've seen who want to play cash games will see that if they want to take a chance on a particular hand, then they'll say, okay, they'll have a look to see if the cash game's going, and if it's about to start off, they'll actually go, cool. And if it's not about to start off, they'll say, okay, I'll leave it for another time. This is the way these people act. So,
wow.
That's something that you do have to consider. What position of the tournament it's in? Is it later in the tournament? Do you need to take a shot at it now? Or, have you got something better to do with your time if you do call and you're out? So, that's the thing to watch out for.
Lots of stuff to consider there.
Yeah. Plus the other thing is, one other thing is, it also depends on what kind of mood is that guy in. Has he been re-raised last 2 or 3 times and he's put it down and now he's possibly fed up of putting down another hand? So all these are different factors.
That's a good one. Now he's also asked a question about where to do good live games. So we might want to...
That's a simple one. Think? Where to play live tournaments?
Yeah, play live tournaments.
Very simply, go to thehendonmob.com and go to their poker database, and it lists all the places to play live games in the UK. So, I'll have a look as well and see if I can see anything more definitive for you after the break.
Okay, well, we're going to a break, so we will see you very soon. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome back to the last hour here on Poker Night Live. We're all chipper, or at least I am.
Yeah, I like that little hello there. Hello.
Hello. Hiya, how you doing? Welcome back. Just trying to make them feel welcome. We're all one big happy poker family here.
Yeah, aren't we just? Yeah, aren't we just? Even our European neighbours.
That's true.
Yeah.
Scandinavia, Germany. We had an email in from France earlier.
Yeah.
The Baltic countries.
Yeah, but we're still not going to take the euro. Let's make that point clear.
Getting all political here. like it, a little controversial. Right. We are going to go and see the final table, I think, for the MTT.
What we're going to do is take the dollar instead. Okay, let's head over to our multi-table
Cool.
shortly.
Ooh, hoo, hoo, here we go, final table.
Okay, so we have a final table. I'll give you some idea of what they're playing for. First prize is $882.
Ooh.
Second, $564. Third, $388. $282 goes to fourth. $211 goes to fifth. $158 goes to sixth. Seventh is $123. Eighth is $88. Eighth is $88, yes. And ninth you don't need to know about because they've already gone. $61.77, however, is what they got. And if you're wondering who went out in ninth, it was in fact Grizzly, who just missed out on the final table. So unlucky Grizzly, but well done. It's not that easy to get down to, you know, ninth spot when there's 353 players. Not easy at all. So well done for all your achievements.
Oh, Krutov's just gone all in.
He has. He's
Pre-flop.
got looked up, and he's going to get away with it as long as King doesn't appear, and it doesn't.
Oh.
So
Score Krutov.
yeah. Assi can't be too happy about that. He's played a good game, Assi, hasn't he? He's had a chip lead for a while and he's managed to keep it there. So, it'll be interesting to see who can take this one down. Could be anyone's game, this one. They've all got chance. We've seen people come from nowhere to actually win it. You know, even people in Vedanta's shoes, who's the short stack on the table.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll be the one, who knows.
I do love some of these names. Doc Zoidberg. Now that's funny. That's, I believe, off of Futurama.
Oh, I've
A
got to
large
watch it.
squid-like character. It's very funny. Sense of humour, that's what we like.
This is what you get up to in your spare time, watching cartoons.
I like cartoons. Don't be dissing the cartoons. It's all about popular culture.
I think I would have thought sort of Hong Kong Phooey might be more appropriate.
Oh, I did like the Hong Kong Phooey. Fantastic. Yeah. Now the final table of a multi-table tournament always kind of, it gets my blood up a bit. So it can be quite exciting. Things can move around quite quickly.
Yeah, it's lovely when you make, you know, especially when you're playing live, especially when you make that first final table. It's always a nice feeling, and it does, you know, it gets the blood going. So it's good. It's good fun. It is nice, you know, especially these guys. You know, they've been fighting it out for the last 2 or 3 hours. And, you know, they come through a fairly big field, 353 players to make it here. So, you know, they've done really well. It's not an easy thing to do. You know, they've all probably got lucky at some point where they've won a 60-40 or even worse perhaps. It's very, very hard not to actually get to a final table with so many players without hitting a little bit of luck somewhere along the lines. And luck can take the form, you know, can take different forms. It can take a form of winning a 50-50, winning a 60-40, or winning 40-60. It can also take the form that you have kings and someone's got aces, but the guy that's got aces has got a quarter of your stack, as opposed to covers you in chips. You know, so that can be sort of lucky in some fashion as well.
It really is true. I mean, I found that in my own tournament as well. I went all in against someone who had a smaller stack than me. It just barely saved me.
Yeah, so there's a good example. So, you know, luck does play a part in these. And but it also, not to forget, that it is about good play too. You can't get here just by pure luck or by just pure good play. But certainly, if you want to take any one of those, you would want to take the luck, the skill factor, and just hope that you get that little bit of a run to go with it. And if you can, then why not? You can make it all the way.
Well, someone here is definitely going to make it all the way. It's just a question of who. I'm sure everyone out there has their eye on someone, their own favourite in here, but it's going to be a little while before we actually see here on television who wins this multi-table tournament and takes home that grand prize of $882.
Now, this was a very strange play. Devil Childs went all in for 4,800, and Krutov didn't call in for the extra 800.
Huh.
I don't know what he had there, but I would have... I just missed out what he had. I can't remember what he had. But whatever it had, it was something, you know, even with any hand at all, you would call for 800.
Yeah.
So,
it didn't do any good for
no,
Devil Child.
No, you might have won that pot. Well, Devil Child is now out. He's out in 8th place, and he picks up $82 for his efforts. Well done, Devil Child. Good showing. Next prize is 7th place for 123. Who's going to get that one? Well, Vidar's needs to pick a hand. Probably 7-8 would have been my choice there, I think.
Yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Surprising that.
Well, he's on the he's in a cut-off position.
Yeah.
He's suited. He's only got to beat off 3 other players. You know, he's elected to do it now with a pair of 3s. Not a bad time to do it as well, but it's unfortunate that he's run into pocket 10s.
Yeah, unless
so
he finds a
he's
3.
only a 3 or a
No.
5 would have done it as well, but give him a straight, but didn't happen. So unfortunately, we have our 7th place finisher, and that's Vidarts, who's got $123 for his trouble. Well done, Vidarts. On to 6th place. Someone's going to be picking up $158 for 6th. Who's that going to be? They all paid, if you just joined us, this is a multi-table tournament. Starts off with 353 players. They paid $10 for their entry fee, and each was awarded 1,500 chips. And we're down to the last 6. And they've been battling out, accumulating chips. Next player out gets $123. Top prize is $882. So a fantastic return for your $10 investment if you can pick it up. One of these players is going to do it. Which one is it going to be? Well, a straight draw for Assi. He might decide to bet it. There's a bigger chance of him winning it by betting. And, well, he didn't need to in the end. He did pick it up. Surprising, because he got checked all the way. I think I would have liked to have seen a bet from Assi. He could have won it without having to hit his hand. When you've got 2 checks like that, there's a good chance that your opponent hasn't got any part of it, or if he has, he's got a very weak part of it. A sufficient bet will knock him off. Well, didn't need to do it. Now we move on to the next hand. Ace-Jack in a big blind. Well, Kruzov has made a raise from early position with King 9. I don't know why. It's not a particularly good hand. He's looked at it being suited and he's got all attracted to it. That's really what it boils down to.
Makes a pretty picture.
Yeah, and he's called now. He's felt
Uh-oh.
that he's got a call. And that's a shame. I don't think he really needed to expend himself with King
Oh.
9. He had 38,000 or something. If he loses the blinds, that's only going to put him down to 32. He wasn't one of the desperate ones. That was the thing.
Yeah.
He could have waited a few more hands
That's
and
a
waited
shame.
for a better hand. He didn't need to do that under the gun with King 9.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd rather raise with a better hand in later position, with a different hand in later position than King 9 in early position. There's just no point.
Mm-hmm.
Especially put all your chips behind it. You know, if you're going to commit all your chips, why not just go all in?
Right, and hope that nobody else...
If you're going to do that, if you've decided that you're going to call a re-raise, you know, these are the things that you've got to do before you do them.
Right.
So if you're going to call a re-raise, then why not just stick all your chips in anyway?
So you really do need to know what you're going to do.
Yeah. What is the purpose of raising double like that?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the off chance that someone does bite, what are you going to do? And if you're not sure about that...
And if they do go over the top of you, if you think that, you know, it's deceptive, that they think that you might have aces, then fine. But if someone is still willing to raise you, then they must have a pretty decent hand themselves.
Yeah.
Especially as they're giving you a lot of respect. The way to look at it is this: they're giving you a lot of respect for the fact that you've raised an early position.
Yeah.
And they're still raising you. They must have a hand. You know,
They've got to, don't they? At that
They're not
point.
going to do it without a hand. So you've got to say to yourself, my King 9 is probably not much good. It might not even be live. You know, you might have Ace King, and then he's in real desperate trouble to hit a 9. I mean, as it worked out, he was live with his King 9, but you know, I don't like the play really. Especially as he wasn't desperate to make that move. It's not as if like he was like Vidarts, who had only 24,000.
Yeah.
This guy had 38,000 or 36,000 or something. So he could have waited a few more hands. He could have waited another 10 hands easily without doing much damage to his stack.
Yeah.
Well, 7-8's being thrown away. It's got called by the Ace Queen. The 6 is set. That's very nice. Doc Zoidberg hasn't got any part of this, and Scoggin will just call here. He's worried now about the potential diamonds, so I'm sure anything that happens will be a re-raise. Yes, it will, and that was the right thing to do. Well done. Now Doc Zoidberg can decide whether he wants to put all his chips on a flush draw that might not even be any good. And he decided to fold, and that was perfect play by Scoggies, and well done. I like that play. I thought he played it perfectly. Called a bet. Then when it got dangerous, he thought, okay, no more diamonds. If you want to bet, you bet all your chips. So he played it absolutely spot on. Well done, Scoggies. Some good play there.
Yeah, some very good play there. You're down to the final four here.
No, five.
Oh, sorry, five.
In fact, you're quite right. We did miss Krutov going out with his king nine. We didn't miss it. We saw him go out with his king nine. He picked up $158 on that. So, a little shame that he went out on that hand. Never mind. Sometimes we do get a little over-enthusiastic with our hands.
I suppose he felt a bit more under pressure than he really was.
Well, blinds have gone up, and this is a bit of a cheeky play here by Assi. He's just limped in late with his aces, hoping to pick up something. Scoggies has got his pair of fours. How much will he like it? Will he put a little tester bet out here? He might do. I wouldn't blame him if he did. I think a little bet out there of maybe 6,000 would have just see where the land lies. Because now Assi could be doing this with absolutely no hand whatsoever. He could be making a bet here with absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's hard to say from the information he's given.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a shame that Scoggies didn't put a little bet out here. I think he could have put a little bet out there, 6, just to see if Assi actually had anything. If he re-raised him and say, okay, well, it's cost me 6,000 to find out, I can afford it as well.
Yeah, maybe his poker radar was going, but just to double check it.
Yeah, you need to, the only way you can do that is you need to double check, and the way you do that is by, you need to bet in order to find out answers.
Yep, ask
That's
that
the only
question.
Way. Betting is your only tool in this game, your only variable. Apart from blinds going up, of course, that's a variable, but that's the only thing that does change. Well, look at that, he's hit another big hand.
Ooh.
This time he's got...
nut flush, very nice.
Nut flush, looking very nice.
Bongle's going to see that and be, he should be a bit nervous, even with bottom pair.
Yeah, I think he's... probably scared him off now, I think. No, he's called. Oh, he's going to get paid off now, isn't he?
Oh.
He's hit a set of 5s. And that's exactly what Assi wanted. I'm surprised he called, though, on the turn with a bottom pair like that. But don't mind making the initial bet to find out where you are, but to call it is not too... out of position is not too clever. You can only beat a bluff and nothing more. And he's raised, and he thinks he's got the pest hand, and he's about to tell him, no, you haven't, I have. As he re-raises him all in, he's giving it a bit of a dwell just to show him that it's not that easy. About it. And he's obviously called, and we have our 5th place finisher. That's Bongo, who's hit 5th place, $211. And that's a shame because he went out on that. At the end of the day, he went out with 5-2. Not really a hand you want to go out with, unless you make something big with it. But
well, he's going to tell people he went out with trips.
Yeah, but the problem was the call on the turn, really.
Yeah. Well, now at this point, the money starts jumping quite a bit between places. So you're going to see some real jockeying for position. We've got Doc Zoidberg there with the tiniest stack, 25,000 after he's put in his big blind.
Yeah, he might decide to make a stand with this hand if anyone raises him, and I don't really blame him if he does. He needs something to accumulate chips. He can't let this hand go by. He can't let 6,000 drift away. He's got Jack Queen. It's a fairly decent hand. Might not necessarily be the best hand, but it's got lots of opportunities. And I wouldn't even let this guy call. I'll be pushing in, and he does. Good play. As he might feel compelled to call, because it's only another 25,000. I would throw it away and save it for another day, I think. You've got a lot of chips. You don't need to spunk off 25,000.
Nope. Right, pair of 9s there for SC40.
Yeah, this could be dangerous for someone because they've both got big stacks as well. So.
Can see a bit of play.
So they're both playing it very casually. No one wants to. Ace-Jack is a nice hand, as is a pair of 9s. And he just elected to call here. He's playing it very, very softly. Now, if he checks this, he definitely should be putting out a bet here, Assi. He should be betting out a bet around 25,000.
Okay.
He needs to ask the guy whether he's got a queen. And that's a very weak bet. He could call him with anything now, and that's weak, you see. That's the problem. He's not asking a question. He'll call every day a bet of 6,000 because he thinks that his ace-jack is probably still winning. So he'd need to ask a question. He didn't do it. And let's hope he doesn't get bluffed off it, because that would be a terrible shame. He can afford to call this, though. He's also put a weak bet in. And neither of them they were both basically worried about each other's stacks. And they both played very weakly into each other. And because of that, they both let each other get away with something, or not get away with it, as it were.
So they're being just too timid?
A little bit, yeah. They were both worried about each other's stacks, and they were both a little bit timid with the bets. At the end of the day, Assi could have bet 25,000 and found out where he's at. He elected to take a chance, but of course by checking there, all that would happen is that the guy could overtake him. His pair of nines is vulnerable.
Yeah.
So he was fortunate that that didn't happen. Because the problem is, you see there, Kara, is if, let's say, the guy catches it on the river, yeah, and Assi sees his hand, he's going to now kick himself. Why did I let him cheap? And now what will happen is that now he'll now go on tilt. He'll think, damn it, I let this guy on cheap. I should have had 250,000 there or 200,000.
Yeah.
And instead, I've lost 40-odd thousand. I'm now down to 100,000, which would have happened had the guy have hit his hand on the end.
Yeah, we just lost Doug Zoidberg as well with a king-queen.
Oh, sorry about that, Dog.
Ouch,
Doc,
ouch.
rather. So, Doc Zoidberg, fourth, $282. So, interesting play there that we saw a moment ago. And I think it's not only the effect of the hand, it's not only the hand way it was played out and the money, the chips you would have got out of it, but how does it make you feel, when you've had the best hand and because you've failed to do something, the guy sucks out on you on the end.
Yeah.
Very frustrating, and it can start to wind you up to a point whereby you get emotionally involved in the game.
Yeah, make some bad decisions.
And make bad decisions because of that.
Get a bit angry with yourself for not doing the right thing, and then again do the wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, 3 players left. Assi's played a very good game up to now, generally speaking. In fact, they all have. All to get to this point, they've all must have played a good game.
They must have done, really.
Yeah. I can comment on Assi a bit more because I've seen more of his plays. And I like the way he's been playing. I thought he's been playing a pretty good game up to now. Well, Assi's thinking, well, I've got a flush draw and I've got middle pair. Do you really have the king? And in fact, look at that. Great play. That is a superb play. He's basically asked the question via betting, which is the question I just posed. In other words, do you really have a king? And the guy said, well, I've either got a weak king or a strong 10, or I've got a draw. Make up your mind, Assi, which one I have.
And well done, Assi. 3 10s there.
Yeah, he's got 3 10s. He's probably still slightly worried about the flush. So I'll probably just, I don't know, it depends what he's put him on. Depends what he's put him on. And he's obviously not, he thinks he would have bet the turn, I think, had he had a flush. He would have tried to glean some money out of Assi, and he didn't. So he must be on a draw. So we put out the 24. Hoping that he's going to catch him with a king or something.
Yeah.
Really, I think the best thing would have been just to check, hope that he bluffs at it in that particular situation at the end. Just in case, the guy does have a flush, he'll try and he won't make the bet too big because he wants to try and get money out of him.
Of course, yeah. And
it means that he also might bluff with no hand because he's missed his draw. So there's a couple of good reasons why it would have been better just to check. But equally, there was a good reason why there was a good reason for him to bet as well, because he might have had the king and might have called him. Yeah. So.
You know what I think? This might be a bit of a random idea, but I was sitting here listening to all the poker commentary and having worked with all the different commentators and whatnot, I think you lot should put out a book. And you could each do a chapter on your own kind of speciality.
Yeah, we could do that.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'll be all your agents.
I think that would be difficult though.
Yeah?
Yeah, because we do have different views. We do have different views, and we do play in different ways, so it would be difficult, I think, pull it off.
Get something coherent out of it.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, I could give you each a chapter and you could give your take on the
Imagine
game.
I'll be there telling them to play 7-8 and the next chapter will be Dr. Tom saying never play suited connectors from early position.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I could always go around the shops and just rip those pages out though, couldn't I?
You could do. Might take a while, but you know, that's one way to play it. No, I think it'd be quite funny, really.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I think certainly be interesting.
I like the idea.
It could probably be some way. I think it's a bit like a Super System. We could probably do something like Super System whereby each chapter has its own narrator. So
yes, I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Rather than each person putting in their own do's and getting a sort of a hodgepodge of different ideas into one chapter. So yeah, that'll probably be a good way of doing it. It's pretty good idea.
The idea's growing on you.
Yeah,
I like it. I think it's a great idea.
I've actually thought about it before.
All right.
I just never mentioned it or anything. But yeah, you could be our agent. I think you'd be good at that.
I think I would. I think I'd be brilliant. I'd go on poker tours and book tours and all sorts.
Yeah, book signings. That sounds good fun.
Fantastic.
What's your cut?
We'll talk about it later.
So an interesting hand here because we've got a rag ace against king queen, and I'm sure they both like their hand. And he's putting a re-raise there, and he's saying, "How do you like your ace four?" He's full of questions, this Assy, and I like it. I like his style. He's got a very good style of play. He asks the questions. How much do you like your hand, really? And Poker just said, I don't like it very much. He's answered him. There you go. Perfect. Especially the kind of raise that he did as well. He put a minimum raise. That shows a lot of strength. So fantastic play there by Assy. He's playing a blinder, I must say. In this last 3 or 4, he's been playing out of his skin. So he's been playing very, very well. Well, he's on a big blind. He's been called from poker. He decided just to peel off a flop. 7, 8, 9. Put about a 24. And Assy just says, you know what, I've got no part of this. You take it. What are you limping in with on the button? That's a suspicious play in itself. A lot of players won't limp in on the button for the simple reason that they want to try and win the blinds when the blinds are high. The blinds are worth stealing or taking. So why is someone all of a sudden limping in? That shows strength. Mm-hmm. And I like the play by Poker Paul as well. So strength with, ace king this stage. It's a good hand to sort of steal blinds with. I'm not sure it's so good to be in an unraised pot with, because you just don't know where you are. But it worked out okay for him. And Skoggysen's not taking any chances.
Oh, Poker Pool's getting right down there in his stack.
He is, yeah. It looks like he can only... Well, he's got a good hand here. I don't think we'll be seeing him... we could see an all-in confrontation. I've got a feeling Assy won't put this down. Yeah. We'll see, though. Well, 9-10 suited. It's not a bad hand, really, when you're only up against one other person. Yeah, he might decide to take a chance and see if he can knock this guy out. Yeah, and considering he knows that Poker Pool has to make a move. So he might have any number of hands. It doesn't mean that he's got, a pair of aces. But he's done well, Poker Pool, here as well, because what he's done, he's craftily just not bet the maximum, which was all in. Which was, if anyone has a hand, he's said, he's basically probably not got a call from Assy by virtue of the fact that he didn't bet all in. You see, he's got Queen 8 here, now he's got called, which doesn't show, it says the opposite. And he's hit, and unfortunately he goes out. Poker Pool. Goodbye, Poker Pool. Yeah. Well played. So that might have been my take for Assy to call, because he could have done with those chips. It was little risk to add to those chips, and it would have put him in a more favourable position against Skoggysen. Yeah. So it was a battle to see who was going to get those chips off that guy. Yeah, and now they are pretty much evenly matched at this point, so those chips close. Would have made a difference. A little bit, yeah. Would have been a fortunate difference, but there is a psychological edge as well. Yeah. Well, that's a nice board there. I'm surprised he's betting it. He's betting it very strongly. That's a strange play. Maybe he's just trying to hope that the guy's got some part of it. But if you've got, you know, two of the pairs, then it's unlikely your opponent's got. I think you should have let him catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, he had a very strong hand there. Didn't need to bet.
No, he certainly did, yeah. When you see the flop and you see that, that's a little light going on saying hello.
Yeah, you should give him at least one free card, I think. Give him a free card or make a very small paltry bet rather than a big bet like that. Minimum raise, minimum bet.
Yeah, this is not the time to start making rash decisions.
Yeah. So it's been raised there. You can fold that. Very, very even now. Poker Pool picked up $388 for his trouble. Assie 40 and Skoggiesen battling it out for first and second. Who's going to be the ones to take it?
Who will be the victor?
$882 for first, $564 for second.
Yep, and to the victor go the spoils.
Well, no one's hit anything here. Skoggiesen's got position. He might elect to bet, and he will. And I think Assie missed an opportunity there. He had bottom pair. The flop is 7-3-2. Skoggiesen, has he really been calling with a 7 or a 3 in his hand? Even if he's got a 3 in his hand, will he really call a decent sized bet? Unlikely. So I think Assie missed an opportunity there. Only a small one. Wasn't a lot of chips in the middle. But you want to gain every possible thing that you can. Well, this could be an interesting hand. Ace, oh, look at this. Ace King against sixes. Now, there's two ways of Assie playing this. He can just flat call and then push all in on the flop, regardless of what comes. Or he can just do what he's done. And Skoggiesen is taking a chance here and now. So this is the hand that could decide it.
But it doesn't. Oh, now Assie's gone all in. Because he had to.
He did. And he's... What's happened there? He's down to 4. Oh.
Well, I don't know.
Don't know what quite happened there, but...
There's not a lot of play left here for Assie 40. He's done really well, but...
and
that is it.
Well, that was unfortunate. Yeah, he took a chance, and that was a big call there from Skoggiesen with a pair of sixes. But he committed so many chips to the pot.
Yeah.
I think Assie. See, the problem what Assie did was with the Ace King. I feel a little bit was that by pushing in, he's got to ask himself, will Skoggiesen fold this hand? Now, if he's not, then Ace King is not as strong as it could be.
Yeah.
It's still a drawing hand. So if he feels that he's not going to fold, then he's got to say. Okay, well, I've lost part of my edge because part of the power of Ace King is the fact that you can use it as a power play. And if you haven't got that, then maybe you're only just calling in effect. So maybe the idea would have been better to call and push on the flop. Possibly. Very easy to say that in hindsight. But he's only got 15 seconds to act, you know. So you've got to make a very quick decision on what the best play is. So it's not cut and dried, but that might have been a slightly better play.
Okay, it can get quite pressurized, I imagine, at the very last table, the last two players heads up of this huge multi-table tournament. Sometimes decisions made in hindsight.
Yeah, not an easy flop. I don't think he done much wrong there, really.
Yeah.
But it was good play there, and I thought Assie played a blinding game. There was 2 or 3 plays there I was very, very impressed with.
Okay, well, I think we actually have another phone call.
Okay.
So we are going to hear someone have their say here on Poker Night Live.
Okay.
Hi, this is Nigel in Dudley. Thanks for entertaining me, guys, for the last 3.5 hours. It's been a really good night for the show. It's a quick question for Mark. As far as I believe, Mark, you were runner-up in the Heads Up Championship back in 2004, 2005, either. Just wondered if you could tell me who was your favourite poker player you came up against in that tournament, and who was your least favourite? Any thoughts appreciated? I know Devilfish was in there, so dish the dirt.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Nigel in Dudley. Yeah, it was actually 2004, not 2005. Who my favourite player was? I don't really have any favourite players that are in there. I enjoyed playing with Devilfish. It was a long card run. It was something like, I think we played for about 6.5 hours head-to-head, which is almost like playing for over 24 hours in a normal tournament because of the amount that you're playing practically every hand. So it doesn't mean you play a lot of hands that you normally wouldn't play. So it's very taxing. So that was a good game. I enjoyed playing with him. He likes making wisecracks throughout the tournament. So that was pretty good fun. Most least favourite, I didn't really have a least favourite. I'm a pretty easy person to get on with at the table, and people would have to be really obnoxious to annoy me. And if they do annoy me, I try and take it out and using the cards. So I never really had that situation. The guys that I played against were all really nice guys, got on well with all of them, and so I didn't really have a least favourite. But but I suppose I enjoyed the one against Devilfish the most. That was the most fun. One, because he's a big name player, of course, and two, that put me into the final. So that was that was a very important game for me. So that was probably my most favourite.
Okay, well, adding on to what Nigel questioned you on there, I'm just wondering what would be, because I know you're saying you are a very easy guy to get along with, and this is true, but what would be the one thing, poker etiquette-wise, that would just really burn you up if a player did it at your table?
If a player did it at my table?
Is there anything that would just really get on your nerves?
I just someone talking a lot of rubbish consistently would probably do it eventually.
How do you manage sitting beside me for this long?
Well, I get by. It's not that easy, folks, I must tell you. It's not that easy, but I do get by.
You are a trooper, a real professional.
No, I mean, there's not really a lot that winds me up too much at a poker table. If they wind me up, if they try and wind me up at the poker table, then it just goes over my head and I ignore it. So it's not a lot really gets me going.
Cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, I try to be.
Thank you very much, Nigel, for your question. Now, if anyone else out there wants to have their say live on Poker Night Live, get your voice on the telly. This is how you can do it. You can give us a call on 0906 200 70 80 and leave a message or a question. Make sure to speak nice and clear, and when you're done, push the hash key, and that will finish your call. Don't forget that it does cost £1 a minute, so do ask whoever pays the bill before you make your call. And we're happy to discuss your questions or your messages live on air here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I'll put up with you for a little bit longer tonight.
Will you?
Yeah, I'm that kind of guy.
He's so sweet. Well, I think we have a cash game to go to after all of our tournament action. We're going to slow it down a bit with a bit of a cash game.
Cool.
25.50 cents.
Okay, so we're going to be seeing a short-handed game here. Short-handed means anything less than 6, really. So four-handed here. Johan Harem, who was annoying me yesterday, kept raising my big blind all the time. Don't worry, Johan. I'll get you back, young man. I'll get you back. Although he did have hands, and actually we saw it afterwards. He did have practically a hand every time. A couple of them were dubious, and I could have probably got him off it had I re-raised with my 10-6 or something. But I shall get him next time. Don't worry. We'll see.
I forgot to say, Gan as well said to say hello to you. I think, was he at the table?
Gan. Was he at the table?
He sent his regards anyways.
Did he? Oh,
He
okay.
did.
That's very nice of him. I can't remember. I remember Johan because he was, as I said, he kept raising me all the time. I can't remember any other names. If you said them, I'd probably remember, but I can't remember if Gan was there.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, hi back, Gan. And, Snappet's done well at this table, hasn't he? No wonder that all the seats are empty. He's been sweeping them up. As
Certainly
has Yon 76, and Johan's even picked up a few chips. Of course, we're watching a 25-cent, 50-cent table, which means for the viewers that aren't aware that they can only actually go in with $50. What you're seeing is real dollars in front of them. So they would have started off with anything up to $50, and Snap It there at the bottom of your screen has boosted it up to 187, which is no easy feat, I must tell you. Taking it from 50 to 187, almost quadrupling your starting stack, is not easy at all. Doubling it is a good achievement, and people say to me, well, what kind of thing do you aim for? And normally if I'm playing, it depends on the levels. Obviously the higher the level you go up, the more difficult it becomes. However, if you're playing a cash game of this level, then I would be playing 2 tables simultaneously. I'll be looking to double my money, not in each, but over the 2 of them. So in other words, I'll be looking to gain probably around $25 per hour per table.
Per hour, okay. Because I was going to say, I wonder how long Snappet has actually been set down there.
Yeah, I don't know how long he has been sat down here. Well, it's been for a while, hasn't it?
It must
we
be,
saw him
yeah,
earlier.
Yeah.
But so that's what I would
Okay.
be aiming for. At this level, probably 25 cent, 50 cent, might be even slightly higher. It might be around 30, 35 bucks per table.
Okay.
You normally equate it to the amount of the buy-in, and I'm looking generally to make around a buy-in every hour
Okay.
between two tables. So at these sort of levels might be slightly higher on these levels. Maybe a buy-in and a quarter or something. So Snappet's done very, very well. Don't know how many tables he's playing. Well, it doesn't really make any difference, but he's obviously had a good game up to now. Well, he's been dealt 320 hands. In fact, we can equate from that, if he's been dealt 320 hands, and it's on an 8-seater table, we're talking about roughly about 60 hands an hour, something along those lines. So he's been playing there for about 5 hours.
Wow.
So he's, by the looks of it, that's a long time to be playing. Of course, if it's short-handed, it means that he can play more hands per hour. So if we say 70 hands per hour, possibly, maybe, so I don't know how long he's been playing short-handed, so it's hard to work out, but say 75 hands an hour, he's probably been playing for about 4 hours at the worst. Yeah, so...
I wonder if he's nipped out to get a cup of tea at some point.
I'm sure he has, I'm sure he has.
Cup of tea and a sandwich.
Yeah. So, top pair for Zongalero. And, Johann's picked a time to try and get him off it, and he's picked the wrong time there. I think Johann didn't need to lose that much in that pot. I think he could have just put in a simple raise and see what, a little bit more than double the raise and see what reaction he gets.
It gives you a bit of, not bragging rights, but I don't know, it makes you certainly look stronger if someone enters this table here and sees Snappet with nearly $200 there sat down. Because he doesn't know how long Snappet's been playing, I suppose, if you sit down at this table and you just think, wow. I mean, he's doing very, very well.
No, but you would have a decent idea that he must have been sitting there for a while, for the simple reason that it's not easy to do. You don't seem to obviously have a lot of short stacks at the table. So where does the money come from?
Yeah.
You know, the other guys all seem chipped up as well. So where does the money come from? So it must have come from previously. And that would have taken some time to accumulate. So anyone playing at the table would have thought that he's been playing there for at least a couple of hours. You know, so they know he's been playing. But he's obviously been playing very well. You know, not an easy thing to do. So well done.
I suppose the thing as well with playing so short-handed is it does take a while for you to get the good hands, to see a board full of lovely hands, or a table full of lovely hands, as you would in an 8-handed game. With 3 people or 4 people playing.
You are having to use your position more. In a short-handed game, you're having to use position more and you're having to bluff more. And see, for example, I think I can see that he's not winning in this particular case, but I think he should have put out a bet here, possibly, on the flop. A6 is likely, in a lot of times, is going to be the best hand. But having said that, he should have perhaps raised it pre-flop anyway with A6 with a short-handed table. A6, 4-handed is pretty strong.
Yeah. Okay.
But that could have been one of the moves. You see, there's standard moves and there's what I would call variable moves. Every now and again, you throw out a curveball just to throw people off. And that could have been a situation where that was one of his curveballs. He wanted to limp in just to say, look, I haven't, you don't know really what I've got. So that could have been trying to throw them off a little bit. Okay. Because obviously if you raise, generally speaking, it means you've got an ace in your hand.
Crafty. Being a little crafty.
Yeah. But when that flop came down 7-3-3, I think he should have put out a little feeler bet there. I think there's equity in that play. Maybe not in that particular hand, the guy had a set of 3s, but certainly in the long run. Well, Jack-7 is taking a lead, although he probably doesn't know, he's probably not convinced that he's in the lead with a king and 9, and that's a very healthy bet there. And I don't think he can call. Well, he can't call, you're right, but he can raise, and that's a strong, strong play there by Johann. Very strong play, and Johann can't definitely call here. Good play there by Johan. I'm impressed. Very impressed. Dangerous, though. Dangerous, I think. Because had Johan had a top pair or something, I don't think he's putting it down. So must have had a good read that he likes to bet out on flops. And that was a good play there. Very, very good. For a 25 cent, 50 cent, that was a sophisticated move.
Yeah, I suppose just because the stakes are lower than some other tables, you still get some really good quality players on them.
You do. I've seen some very, very good plays. In fact, some of the best games I've seen have been on this particular table, the 25 cent 50. I remember seeing one with, I can't remember who I was with now, but the table was brilliant. They were just playing almost perfect poker.
I suppose with it being smaller stakes as well, maybe they feel much more comfortable in the fact that they can sort of play this brilliant poker. They don't have to be really tight. They don't have to protect the money that they're playing with as much as they would have if they were playing a much higher stakes game.
Yeah, that's true as well. But also the fact that what happens with slower stakes poker is they tend to be looser. But they just weren't. That was the thing. They just weren't being extra loose with rubbish hands.
Yeah.
So. That made it good too. They were playing still, good hands and creative hands, but they were doing well with them. So, this is really not a table you'd want to join, really, to be perfectly honest. There must be easier tables to play, throughout the site than joining this, joining this bunch.
I bet you there's quite a few people watching this table.
Yeah.
It's certainly an interesting one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, game selection is important, and when you're playing a cash table, you want to pick a table that's going to pay you.
Yeah.
And to be honest, when I'm looking around here, I don't know who Zongelero, because I've never played with him or seen him play, but the other three aren't going to give you very much money. You'd have to be very creative with them.
So what do you look for when you do take a look at, say if you've got 2 or 3 games that you might enter, how do you pick the one that you do enter?
Well, you've got to know the players.
Okay,
basically.
so you do pick a table where you know who... Okay.
But if you don't know the players, then you just got to watch out. You've got to watch the table. And if after a while you see that there's no weak players there, then you've got to ask yourself, well, is it worth staying here at this table? That's the key.
Yeah, I suppose if you're playing for fun and you want to play against other good quality players, then fantastic. But if you're actually playing to, well, not just for fun.
Yeah, if you're trying to win money, then...
if they're not going to pay you, they're not going to pay you.
No, you want to play with players that are going to pay you. And I don't think these guys are going to give you too much, in terms of mistakes and things like that. And that's really, when you're playing these kind of levels, 25 cent, 50 cent, these are the kind of levels that you want players to make mistakes.
Yeah.
These are the players that are hopefully going to try and make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. So that's really what you're hoping they're going to do.
And Shelley Bix TC has decided to make this her or his table. I don't know, maybe erroneously. We'll have to see.
We shall see indeed.
There's a bit of a feeling between the snap at Johan Heron and the Jorn 76th, almost of a regular home game here. That they kind of know each other, that they've obviously, some of them have played against each other before, and there's that sort of feeling of one of those regular weekly home games.
Yeah.
Where they know each other's tricks.
Yeah, they do. I mean, the thing about this particular game, to be honest, I mean, I don't know why either of them are actually playing. Because, looking around, you've got 3 strong players. I don't know the other 2. They might also be strong, I don't know. But you've got at least 3 strong players. Where's the edge?
Yeah.
The edge is really is not there. There's no edge in this particular table. So if I was sitting on there, I probably just wouldn't.
Just not worth your time, really.
I don't think so,
Even if
no.
you're playing a number of other games at the same time?
Not really, because the edge is lost in the house. If there was no rake, that's different.
Yeah.
But there is a rake, so the edge is lost in rake. You might have a 1% advantage, but if you're paying 1% to the house, then what's the point?
I suppose so. They probably got to the point where they knocked out a lot of other smaller players, and each of those 3 managed to take on quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Maybe they're waiting for more people to join up again.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. There's always a good possibility, so you can just wait around. Or, I mean, personally, if I was one of them, I'd probably just go onto a different table looking for some action.
Because a lot of people do ask that question, don't they? The viewers are always kind of emailing, texting in and saying, when's the right time to leave a game? Well, perhaps that is it.
Yeah, absolutely. When the table isn't worth, there's
Yeah.
nothing in the table anymore.
That's quite a sensible time to leave.
Well, we have a regular player, and this is a very interesting development because we've got a regular player, Mahoney, who I actually played with in Estonia.
Did you?
Yeah, we came heads up in the pot limit tournament there.
Really?
And he beat me in heads up. But he was playing, when I was watching him at the time, he was playing a $25, $50 game.
Whoa.
No limit. So what he's quite doing on a 25 cent 50, so I don't know. Maybe he's just getting a bit of airtime. But we haven't seen him for a while. I certainly haven't seen him for a while. And he's a really nice guy, actually. I'll actually bring him up on the internet. There's a picture of him on the internet.
Wow, he's gone all in as well.
Yeah, he's an aggressive old so-and-so. Always hit his flush.
Ouch. Well, it could really change the texture of this table. Just one different player on here with a definite style. And at the moment, he certainly looks like he's being a little more loose-handed.
Yeah, he's a bit of a Brad Pitt lookalike.
Ooh.
There he is. Got him on there.
Wow, what do you know? There's a picture of the two of you together.
Yeah. This was after he came first and I came second in this tournament in Estonia. So
Wow.
that was that's Mahoney for you.
Okay. Well, it lends a whole other texture to the game now.
Yeah, and if people are wondering what I'm looking at, actually I shouldn't be saying names on here, so I won't.
But it's interesting for me to see. Now I have to see how he's playing. He's put in a bet of 20. He's gone all in again. Bit of a cowboy, this Mahoney.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he is. He's a character.
Wow. Well, he certainly is livening up this game. And he's just won it as well. Snap It's stack is dwindling ever so slightly.
Yeah, so what do you think? Do you think he looks like Brad Pitt?
I think he does a little bit, you know? Looks like a bit of a surfer dude to me.
Yeah. Nice guy. He's, I think he was Swedish. Was he Swedish or Norwegian?
Ah.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of Swedes there, actually, and it was a really fun place to play. One of the most fun places I've actually played. Didn't win much money there, but
a good time.
Yeah, Estonia's really nice. Tallinn was really nice, the capital. And unfortunately, they've closed that particular casino now. So they've got another casino. I didn't ever go to the other one, so I don't know what that's like. But I don't think it's as nice as this one.
Well, you'll have to plan a trip to go back and check it out.
Well, funny enough, they've got a tournament coming up in March, but when I went, it was June, which was a lot warmer. And of course, Estonia in March might be freezing cold, I think. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make that one. But
won't be short sleeve weather.
No. It was a little bit cold in June when I went. Never mind in March. But lovely place though. Really, really nice place.
Oh, it sounds lovely. You know what, I think you might have been right when you said that some of them should get out while the getting was good, because it looks like our three big stacks, although they still are big stacks, they've definitely, all three of them, gone down with the addition of all these other players.
Yeah, well, Mahoney's a very creative player, so you'll see him go with all sorts, and they'll never quite know where they are with him. He's picked up a straight draw now, and we can see the chip lead there, Snap It, holding on to that at the moment. And you are not that far behind. Although Shelby, in second to last place, only came in, I think, with about $19. So, although he's in second to last place, he's actually increased his chip stack. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, that's been an interesting way to finish the show.
Yeah. And if you're watching Mahoney, say hello to you, and maybe I'll bump into you in the near future again.
Maybe in Estonia again.
Yeah, maybe in Estonia in March, who knows.
All right, well, we have two emails here from two of our regulars. I'm going to go through them nice and quick here. Right, this is an email from Hoofy. Hoofy says, "Hi guys, great show. Interesting to watch your tournament, Kara." That's a good word for it. I suggest you join the site from home and play a few more money games and get used to how the software works a bit more. You're very right. I think if you could have raised a bit more on a couple of occasions, you might have done slightly better. That said, I think it was probably one of those games that you weren't destined to win, and we all have them. When you know how to make a raise, and if you think you're ahead, stick a bloody big raise in, and it works almost every time. Mark, on the other point about players playing tight because they're on TV, I think in your game it was just the nature of the players you were against and the poorer than average cards we all received. All the guys you faced have been on the show a lot of times and don't need to be a hero. Cass mentioned that he thought players might try and make big moves to take out the presenters. I actually think this is unlikely. I think most of us were just trying to win the money. I know I was. Well, thank you, Hoofy. That's really lovely. And it's nice to get a bit of feedback from some of the regular watchers and the viewers of the show, because I know I'm a beginner, but that's pretty much why they put me in these tournaments, is hopefully other beginners can learn from my mistakes. And it's good for me to get the feedback from you guys who've been playing for such a long time. So thank you. I think you're absolutely right. When I'm going to put in a raise, sometimes I need to put in a bloody big raise, as you said, and hope it works.
Yeah, good point. So it's been a good learning experience for you tonight.
It really has been a good learning experience for me. Really, really has.
Least of all, using the slider bar.
I know. Now I know how to use the software. Oh, well. Now, we do have one more email here. And this is from Lord Sam, another one of our regular viewers. And Lord Sam says, "Good evening, great show as usual. Could you please settle an argument? What are the odds on Jack-Jack against Ace-Jack heads up? I think it's about 64% for the Jack-Jack. My mate thinks it's 75% for the Jack-Jack. Thanks for your help."
I think it's about 75%, but I'm not totally sure. Let's see if I've got a poker calculator that I can quickly check for you. I think it's about 75%. Let's see, have I got one?
Well, while we're doing that as well, do not forget to come back tomorrow night, because we have another MTT. It's a $10 MTT brought to us by Dream Poker, and you're not going to want to miss that. Probably lots of our usual TV table players, as well as a few new faces too. You're also going to get all the regular features, Beat the Presenter, and what's in the hole and all that. Right, now you're going to have to find out the odds yourself on that question. I'm sorry, Lord Sam. But we are out of here for now. Thanks for joining us, and have a good night.